Please be seated. We're gonna come back from recess. Okay. Please be seated. We have to continue the meeting. Is anybody can call Mr. Real and Ms. Hurtado, please? Okay, we're gonna come back. We come back to recess from the 7:50.
To the attorney? To the
Call
attorney?
the consent calendar. Please be seated. So your time is, you can come talk the next meeting. Please.
Mr. Kim, I have the right.
Okay, we already passed the time. If you want to do it, I have to remove you, please.
You want to remove me?
Yes, because you're interrupting the meeting. We try to open it. You already time to be called. Please,
Mr. Kim?
please.
No.
Okay, the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the City Council, Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, successor agencies, or Calexico Financing Authority, and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar and then considered separate by the City Council. Okay? I believe the lawyer asked us to pull the item number 8 and 9 to the separate discussion.
Correct.
Okay, and what else the council member wants to pull out?
I'd like to pull number 4 and number 12.
4 and 12. And who else? That's it? Okay. I'd like to pull the number 6. So do I have a motion to approve the rest of them? Do I have a motion to approve?
So
the rest
moved.
of them?
Second.
Number 5, 7,
10, 11.
10, 11.
Aye.
Motion made by Mr. Moreno, second by Mr. Castro. We have a vote?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Number 4.
Excuse me, City Manager, I'd like to make sure that we don't have a mistake here. Item number 4 is with regard to the approval of
Mayor.
City Council minutes, and I'm looking at the most recent of November the 15th, 2015, August 2015, but I'm looking at September of 2008. Is that still correct? Are we still catching up with those minutes that were not prepared by the city clerk in that year? And where do we stand to complete the catch-up of all of those minutes that were never prepared by that city clerk, which was an elected position, by the way? City Manager, where do we stand at this point? Because 2008 is over many, many years here, and hard to believe we're still catching up with minutes from that period of time, and I'd like to understand why we still are in this position.
We're in this position because these minutes were not approved and they're being brought forth to you, and they do go back to 2008. That is correct.
Just to recap, the problem that we had with our city clerk's responsibilities covered a period of approximately 2007 until such time that the voters elected to have her position be a position that was no longer elected, correct? I believe that we had a very, very long 2-year period with no city council minutes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so as far as percentage-wise, are we about, what, 90% complete now? 50% complete, do you know?
I don't know at this time. Maybe we can refer to the city clerk.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that this problem is, because it's coming up on item number 12, and I know that for the 2 meetings where the issue of item 12 was discussed, I was not present, so I will save further comments with regard to what this problem is and how city clerks that are in this position allowed for this to happen, and how item number 12 may not be a good decision for this city. So with those comments and concerns, with regard to minutes that are at this time so backlogged from that experience, I will go ahead and submit for item number 4's approval. Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so,
Are we on item number 12?
so number 4.
Why are we talking about item number 12?
So, which is, so I think so Mr. Finley was answering that it's caused by the former meeting. I mean, the former administration and former city clerk, they wasn't been done.
The
right now, so
elected
we're
city
correcting.
clerk? Right.
Okay.
So like I said, I did mention that I do submit it for approval. Mr. Kim, I motion for its approval.
Second.
So you motion to approve it? Ms. Hurtado?
Second.
By Mr. Moreno, sorry.
Twice.
Okay, so we have a vote? Number
Yes.
4.
Shall we vote on the board, Mr. Mayor?
Okay, if we don't have anybody to say, then let's vote. Number 4. Oh, is machine working now? Number 4, approve it. Vote it. Thank you. Number 6. Number 6.
I have a question, no.
Go ahead.
I have a question for Mr. Eduardo Gutierrez, right?
Yes.
I was gonna call you Gonzalez again. So, how long has it been since, I mean, in the last 2-3 weeks, is when you found out that we overspent $6 million last year? Have there been changes to the way we're spending now? I mean, is something, as soon as you guys found that out, have you guys implemented, I mean, some type of cuts or anything like that? Or are we just continuing to spend like we're not $6 million overspent?
No, since the acting
Call
city
for the
manager-
question, city legal advice. This is with regard to warrants only.
It's relevant.
This is with regard to specific warrants, sir.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
It's regards to spending for warrants, so. Has there
We
been
don't have any
change?
appropriate information to have this type of discussion at this
Has
time.
there been-
It would be irresponsible to talk without numbers in front of us.
Has there been changes?
And
Okay,
something that's on a-
Mr. Real, I think this we doing the one, so we have to stick with the one.
It's the same, it's about spending. Same thing
Yeah,
as the
but the
budget.
spending on this one, only this time once, but
You can talk about the warrants
we
as
can
a
go,
whole.
we can further what's called at the budget. We can go further after the budget, but this one, we're only talking about this time of the one.
Mr. Mayor, I think we should ask the attorney if this is in the scope of the questions that he can ask at this item.
I
It's a
think it's
consent
within the
agenda.
broad scope of the agenda item.
Thank
and it
you.
has to do
It's a
with the
consent agenda,
expenditures,
sir.
right?
Thank you. Can you answer the question? Have you guys stopped spending on maybe things that aren't necessities? No, and now we're $6 million overspent?
well, this is the way our system works. departments submit their requests or PO for services.
I guess my question is, are we, maybe to the city manager, are we being more cautious on our spending?
Yes, we are. All
Okay.
requisitions, no matter for what amount, are going through my office.
Your
and
authorization?
I will approve it and disapprove whatever needs
Okay.
to be spent due to this fact.
Speaking of requisitions, I know that there's a module, a very advanced technology advanced module with the new Springbrook program, where we were in the middle, I believe, 2 months ago before you were appointed as acting city manager. The finance department was working on the module where the
Call for the question.
the
That is
the,
completely out of the
purchase
scope
orders were
of
going to be online.
attorney.
Have you done that yet?
We don't get to that point yet. We
I'm
don't
sorry?
get to it. We don't get to that point yet. On
You haven't got to
software.
that point yet? Okay.
Okay. So, looks like I'm the open the one, the conversation. My simple was, first of all, do we have a, call all the invoice so for the consultants? Consultant investigations, all the invoices being called?
We're going to be doing that. I'll be talking to the attorney in regards to that.
I'm sorry, what were you referring to, Chair? What were you referring to? What,
We called all the invoice for the, what's called investigation and
You
the
wanted to see the-
consultants, especially for the investigation, because the right now we coming in the invoice coming in, we don't know when, how, we don't have any things just suddenly coming in the invoice. Some of the invoices, they never have a contract.
okay.
So we have to have a call the invoice, so we make sure that we have a right invoice is coming through or not.
And what investigations are you referring to?
All the investigation, I'm not just
Which
talking
ones?
one.
Employee referral to
I'm talking about all the investigation.
all investigations during 2006,
No,
15?
now right now, so we have still receiving this July invoice.
No,
so-
but I want to know what investigations you're referring to, because that is a very touchy subject here at the council that we're not supposed to be meddling, so I just want to know
No,
which
so
ones you're talking about.
I'm not saying just one case.
So you
I'm
want-
talking about all the investigation. Bill, make sure we called all those one to make sure we're gonna have how much we're gonna be spending, what's been done or not. We need to have it, because we don't want the supplies to keep coming.
What
that's what I'm
surprises? I'm
asking.
sorry, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
So again, what is the
Yeah.
question, Mr. Quinn?
So we calling all the invoice for the investigation and consultants.
We still are researching on invoices. I mean,
Are you asking for a figure, like a ballpark figure? Is that what you're asking for? I guess, I don't understand the question either. Is it?
Okay, we need to tell them to investigators or consultants, to whoever been served to us, that they still keep sending the invoice, the July one. So we need to let them know we need all the information together, the final invoice, what invoice gonna become, so we don't want to surprise them later on.
I think he wants a history, what do you call it? A history of each investigation company, I guess?
No, it's just
No.
that we're getting invoices from July, August,
July and
that we
August.
just need to call for all the invoices to be sent in, because we're getting invoices from these agencies from a few months back. So we want to bring them up to speed, so we bring them all before you and get them all approved.
With regard to the investigation concerns, I know that when we spoke yesterday, you mentioned that the firing of Mr. Bosick was related to the insubordination and the fact that he went forward with the investigations. Can you, when you give the report, can you specifically detail those, being that we already asked you for that as well, what that was in reference to? Because, of course, the community needs to know the purpose of the insubordination claim.
Well, this is
And we're talking about a lot
the
of,
budget.
the investigation situation here. So since we can know, because I know that you mentioned to me, Mr. Finley, that Chief had gone over the $10,000 limit, and that's why you felt there was insubordination.
Okay,
So I'm
this-
asking if we can just see where those $10,000 limits were violated, I guess, and the dates of those violations. I guess that's probably what you're going to do.
Okay, this is a one time, so we stick with the ones. Okay, so, and also, I think so we need, we need to have more details of each individual, like a project number. We're not having yet. So we like to know which money is spending from where, general fund or some projects whatsoever.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, yeah, you will have a report, a final report on all expenditures, not just for whatever investigation you're referring to, but we're gonna provide for 2 years and the current fiscal year.
No, you're talking something else. I'm talking about the project number on the warrant. So that way we're gonna know what money is spent from which fund, general fund or not. We would like to know.
Yeah, well, okay, let me provide it for the next report.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody to have a question? I make the motion to approve it.
Second.
Second by Mr. Castro. The board,
Aye.
we have a lights. It's not working anymore?
Aye.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Hurtado? Thank you. Okay, next one is gonna be 8.
Mr. Mayor, I asked that number 8 and number 9 be pulled because they are somewhat different than your typical consent items. These are resolutions of necessity through which the city council begins the process of acquiring private property for the use of, for putting it to a public purpose. In this case, both of these items relate to the widening of Cesar Chavez Boulevard. These are pieces of property that are necessary for the widening. The city has made offers to these property owners for just compensation. The property owners have not responded, so this would be the next step by which the city council makes findings through a resolution that the project is necessary, that these pieces of property are necessary for the project, and that the proper process has been followed. So I would recommend that, first of all, we need to know if the property owner or anyone else wants to speak at this time regarding the public necessity of the acquisition of these pieces of property, and if not, then that the city council go forward and adopt these resolutions of necessity.
Thank you. I'm one of the property owners, so I don't know if I have the option. Yeah, please fill the papers to come talk. We still on the agenda.
Yeah, come on up.
Number 8. I'm actually number 8, yes. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm still working, I have the option, I know that, guys, Ernie Zuniga, resident in Chavez, but I don't have the option of getting my own appraisal. That's what I'm actually working on at this point. So
Right, no, and that's correct. You have the option of doing your own appraisal, and this doesn't commit the city to any particular cause of action. I mean, the negotiations will continue to keep going, but the city needs to move forward to take the next step at this point because the acquisitions are time sensitive, so this is the way we keep the process moving forward, but the expectation is that
I've been in regular contact with your representative from Sacramento, Bender and Bender.
Okay.
So there is some response when you're saying there's no response from, at least this property owner I have.
Okay,
so-
well,
so just for the record, guys.
anyhow. Well, that's great. So, I mean, I would recommend that city council go ahead and adopt the resolution of necessity, which basically says it's a necessary project, the property is necessary, and that you have received an offer.
I have, yes, I
Okay,
have.
so, and this would be the next step to keep the process moving, but the expectation is you'll continue to work with the city's representatives, and there'll be an agreement, and we'll all be,
Exactly. Oh, no, and I've been in regular contact. I do want to comment, though, that I don't get any response from the city. When I have questions, I've called many times. I've actually tried to come in. I met with Nick Servin once. And again, just to let the city know and for the record, I mean, I've tried to work with the city, though, and the city doesn't seem to want to work with me, though. So.
all right, well,
But again, now we have new administration, so hopefully that's going to change.
Mr. Mayor, I believe city attorney recommended and city manager to pull this item or continue it.
No, I wanted to pull it off the consent calendar and put it on the discussion calendar because I didn't want it being acted on as part of the consent calendar. But the recommendation still is to go forward with the resolution and adopt the resolution.
Okay, what, do we have more time, or we have to approve by today? I believe
the information-
landowners wants to communicate with the city, is if we wait about 2 more weeks, it's gonna be, we can solve the problem instead of going through the process.
If you're more comfortable waiting for the 2 weeks, I'm sure, I mean, if you go ahead and adopt it tonight, it's not committing to initiating litigation or anything, it's just the next step in the process. There would be time to go forward, but if you're not comfortable going forward tonight, we can push it back 2 weeks, but that would be, about as far back as we can push it, because there's a schedule where we need to acquire the property so that we can go forward and make the
And
improvement.
it was explained by Bender and Bender as well. And guys, for the record as well, though, so I have no problem giving up the property. I just want to make sure I get fair market value for it. So
No,
that's my concern from my end.
Right. So you are in communication with Bender and Bender?
I am also. I've tried. Again, I've had questions that I hope would be answered locally. Wouldn't have to call Sacramento and talk to Bender and Bender, but the Bender and Bender guy, Daryl, he's been pretty receptive to my questions and my calls.
Well, they're the experts that really understand the process. That's why we prefer that you communicate with them. But
Okay.
So,
at this point,
Do we take action?
or can we wait next
Why don't-
meeting?
why don't we continue this one for 2 weeks until December 15th?
Okay.
okay.
We're gonna continue to 2 weeks next meeting?
Right, and let's go
Okay.
ahead and have a vote on that, and then we'll take up the other one.
And I'll have more information from my end as well for my appraisal.
Yeah, hopefully in the 2 weeks, you guys can sort it out. And
Exactly, so.
all right.
So the
Okay.
15th, it'll be tabled for the 15th, so I can come on the 15th and we'll have discussion.
Okay. So we have a motion to
Before the
continue for the
15th,
next
talk to
meeting?
Bender and Bender and get it all sorted out, and then we won't have to do anything on the 15th.
So moved.
Okay.
So,
By any
Ms.
chance, is
motion
there a
made by
representative
Mr.
of, is there a representative of Bender and Bender in the audience? Because I know they've been here for the last time that we talked about this. Guess not.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Leal to continue for the next meeting. And do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
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 I'm just concerned that we don't have the opinion of Bender and Bender today.
Where's you going to continue?
Yeah, but the last time when we talked to them, there was some urgent need to get things done in their time process, in their timeline. So could you find that out tomorrow? If they're on a timeline and we need to do anything with this on an emergency basis? I would assume that they would have been here today, too.
The
but-
information I have is that we need to move these things
Right.
forward as quickly as
Right,
possible.
exactly.
I don't believe that 2 weeks is going to make a difference, but I would say that by.
Can we
Okay,
check just in
definitely.
case? I
Yeah,
mean, it
we
came
will.
on the agenda for a reason.
Right.
Okay,
If there's any change, if you let me know as well, so if you're going to take some kind of action before the 15th.
okay,
We will not take action before the 15th, other than hopefully get into a settlement agreement with you and be done with the whole thing, right?
Ms. Hurtado,
Aye.
you not voted yet.
Aye.
Aye. The 5-0. Okay, number 9.
Yeah, number 9 is the same with respect to a different piece of property, the Mesa property. There again, I don't believe that what happens is a notice goes out to the property owners that the meeting's going to be held tonight, and if they want to communicate, they're supposed to send back written notice to the city council. We haven't received any notice from the property owner, so our recommendation is that we go forward and adopt the resolution of necessity to keep the process moving forward.
Thank you. Before we say something, is any landlord here for the number 9? I mean, the landowners? It looks like the property owner is not here. So what we gonna do, council member? Do we have a motion to approve it? To approve it to take the actions,
Right, to adopt the resolution of necessity.
adopt the
moved.
resolution.
And there again, we need 4 affirmative votes on this, so.
We need 4 votes.
So moved.
City attorney, however, what's the difference between Zuniga not moving forward, the difference to Mesa moving forward? Aren't they the exact same thing?
No, well, Mr. Zuniga is here. He's indicated intention to be negotiating and to talking. In that narrow instance, we'll give that process another 2 weeks. But there really is time pressure on these. I've been told that we need to act as soon as possible on these. And there again, this doesn't foreclose any particular options. It moves the process one step forward.
Mr. Zuniga, were you notified that you were going to be on the agenda today?
I received a certified letter.
You did? Okay, so I would assume that Binder sent that to you?
No, actually, the city did. No, I'm sorry, your attorney.
Binder?
You
Yeah,
you are
best
property
and
owner
free
of the
speech,
number 9?
right.
Pardon?
You are
No.
property owner?
The reason I'm addressing is because I was never given that notice. But yet I was served. And I've been talking to Bender because he told me to wait on the appraisal of Mr. Zuniga. He told me not to go with the appraisal, so that way it could just be one appraisal. Mine's the other parcel, mine's Grant and Railroad.
Are you on the agenda?
I'm not on the agenda, but I was never served a paper. That's why I'm here, because Mr. Zuniga had informed me about his, but I yet got served the papers already.
The difference that I see today, what we're doing today, is
And
that
why
we
you
don't
guys are
have
going
Binder
forward.
here. And the last time we had this issue about the condemnation of these, or whatever, of the properties on this street, Binder was here, and we were very much involved in their description and their guidance and their advice. And I'm kind of concerned that we're taking decisions here and picking and choosing who we're going to approve today, but it appears that maybe we might need some advice as council to ensure what we're doing here today, because we've only got a partial amount of affected parties here. But we're
And we
trying to pick and
never
choose which
received the
ones we're
letter.
going to approve.
City manager, can you have all the parties come to the next meeting? And Bender, how much would it cost to get them from Sacramento to come fly down here, I guess?
We can request them to be here, yes.
I mean, I don't know, I guess that'd be, so, but what if certain people don't come? I mean, we can't force them to be here.
That's correct. All we can do is notify them.
Does the firm have records to show that everyone was notified?
Right, the property
there is
owners
records.
that are on the agenda tonight both received certified letters that this hearing was going to be held tonight. Mr. Zuniga did. We have in the package, I believe, the certification from Mr. Mesa. I've seen that. Now, if you weren't notified, it's because tonight we're not taking any action with respect to your property.
Sir, but
No,
I don't know.
I was actually served with court papers already.
Oh, you were,
And I was under the understanding with Bender to wait on the property appraisal of Mr. Zuniga. We had already talked, he had already also spoke to my brother that lives up in Fresno. He actually met with my brother.
okay, I'm not familiar with your situation, but if you give me your contact information, I'll make sure someone gets in touch with you. But if you have actually been served with the lawsuit, that means that at a prior time, the city council adopted a resolution of necessity with respect to your particular piece of property.
Because I had spoken to Bender, telling him, he told me, well, just sign the docs. That doesn't mean that you're agreeing to this, because we were waiting for the appraisal. Because when I told him I wanted to get an appraisal, he goes, why don't you just wait for Mr. Zuniga's appraisal? And we had also talked to Mr. Araujo down the street.
Did Bender ask you, in other words,
He
what
had talked
difference
to my
does his
brother and I.
appraisal, no, but what does his appraisal have to do with your property? That's kind of where I'm.
Well, I guess because he didn't want the city to pay another $5,000, as opposed to $5,000 for my appraisal.
But I'm assuming it's a
and
different,
$5,000
it's
for
a
his
different,
appraisal.
completely different lot, right?
Right, but that is what he advised me. So I agreed with him, and he also spoke to my brother about it. And I told him, look, we're waiting for an appraisal, because then I was going through, Mr. Tagg, the same person that Ernie is going through. But then when I got these documents, I'm like, what's going on? Why didn't I ever get a letter? Why didn't I get told to
Mr.
come to a
Hargreaves,
meeting?
the problem that I see here is that you just mentioned that we sent out letters for a public hearing. However, these items are not addressed as a public hearing on our agenda. They're under consent calendar. And so it doesn't seem like the public is
Okay, well,
in a conformity style process here. And
the
it's,
requirement under the law is that the property owners be notified by certified letter of the hearing. It's not technically a public hearing in the same sense of land
Oh, I'm
use
sorry, you mentioned
item.
public hearing.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. So the legal requirements have been complied with in terms of the certified letters going out with respect to what's going on here tonight. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with your situation. If you give me your contact information, I'll make sure that someone gets back in touch with you.
Yeah, I think you need to leave the number, contact with the city manager to do it, because we can't talk much about because you're not on the agenda.
That's fine.
And but city wants to help you. Same reason last time when they approving eminent domain, we wanted to give them more time to communicate with the community, but it didn't happen.
Especially because I see where we live on the corner of Grant and Railroad, it's a very busy street.
Okay, thank you.
Extremely busy.
Would you leave the phone number to the contact numbers to the city manager, please? Okay. So we're gonna what we're gonna do with the number 9? We have today for approval to
I
the
think
motion to
there's
buy,
a motion to approve,
and
right?
then Mr. Castro was seconded.
Second.
Yeah. Okay. Then we have
Aye.
a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Is this number 9?
Number
Aye.
9.
Aye.
I'll say no, only because we don't have proper preparation here.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say no. We can wait until next meeting together. Continue to the next one. We
Okay,
try-
then if it's 3-2, let's continue this item until,
to
I
next
would
meeting.
recommend that we have a motion to continue this
Motion
item
to continue.
You need to correct your vote.
Okay, we not 3-2 was not approved it, but Mr. Armando Real was make the one of the motion to continue for next meeting. And do I have second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Castro. We have a vote. Aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, wait.
To continue.
Aye.
Okay, 5-0. Thank you. Now we have number 12, Mr. Moreno.
Ms. Hurtado, pull that item.
Yes, I pulled that item because when this first item was appearing on our agenda, I was absent. And I do want to apologize to the public for being absent. I've been a little ill with my high blood pressure, so I've had a little bit of issues. But I'm here today, and apparently then this issue has moved forward. And what it is, it's a second reading and adoption with regard to changes in the manner in which the city of Calexico handles the duties of the city clerk. And as I was mentioning, just today, we're still approving the most basic job of a city clerk from the year 2008. And that is why I needed to clarify that, because when we saw a problem here on council with that, with an elected position as a city clerk, there was the decision to take the manner in which that city clerk would be appointed to the public, and the public decided that they prefer to have an appointed clerk. And so the appointed clerk is under the city manager, and avoiding the politics that happen in Calexico, where the involvement of the council has their hands on just a little too much and does not allow our city manager to do their work. So the structure was so that we would avoid situations that we have just experienced with an elected city clerk who failed at her services to this community for many years. And that kind of a problem, we can't have that. Because if we don't have a city clerk that's appropriately registering what occurs in here in city council, then it basically didn't happen, because there's no record of it. So those types of problems were severe enough to make these changes. Now I see that we're trying to change the process of the appointment of the city clerk to where this council is asking that the city clerk be appointed by the city council. And I'd like to understand how, I can see how that type of change would benefit this council and the activity that this council has as an intention through our city clerk's services. However, I think that the attitude that this council has needs to change in where it's actually community focused. So my question is, what was the community benefit? And this is a question for the council. What was the community benefit behind this change? Because I did not get to watch the discussion, so I don't know if maybe the city manager would like to answer that, or the chair. Or I think it's important to know the history of these types of things and why they don't benefit our community, where the council will have more control, power, whatever, with regard to this type of position. And it is an important position, obviously. It is the primary authority with regard to many of the activities in council. So having this position not be changed due to community benefit and rather a benefit for this council themselves, then we're self-serving. And I'd like to understand, I don't want to believe that, but I'd like to believe exactly what was the reasoning for this type of change. City Manager?
This item was brought up by the mayor, and so I think it'd be best that he address this issue.
I'd like to ask the attorney if, because I believe I did ask you, and you did tell me that we were kind of on our own with regard to this. Most cities have it this way. Is that correct?
Yes, most cities that
So
I'm
in other words,
familiar
it's
with-
not that we're, it's not that most cities are like us and we're going to a different type of system, but we're actually kind of on our own and we're going to what normal cities do, correct?
The cities that I'm familiar with and that I have worked with, the city council appoints the city clerk.
Okay.
But the city clerk works under the direction of the city manager.
There you go. Why are we putting the direction of the city clerk under the council? I don't get it. What is the community benefit for that change? There's so many changes going on here. Obviously, you know, we're operating under middle management. And then to see this type of change going on, I really need to understand what is the community benefit?
Well, under direction of the city manager working is not meaning it's appointed by the city manager. The city manager has to have ability to deal with the city clerk, put all the agenda for the city side to need it. And the council side so has to be put it on there. And other cities does same things under the under the city council, not as under the city manager. That's the reason. For example, for us, last couple meeting is canceled by the city manager, and even the city council member wanted to call the special meeting, and the city manager doesn't call the meeting. And even judge didn't understand why that happens.
But
'Cause
see, that's the reason.
we didn't explain to the judge what system do we have.
But see, that's why you try to avoid having these types of positions
We-
in the hands of council, because then it becomes political. And everyone knows Calexico
We
could
just,
use a lot
we
less
just,
politics.
we're not making
So-
special entity. We just follow the other cities does.
Well, I
We
just
go
heard,
back to the other city.
Mr.
The-
Hargraves,
We
did
have
you?
we have a clerk position, elected or not, that's another level. But at this level, we just bring into the under the council, so that way, the city clerk can be in the neutral positions.
Uh-huh. Well, it's not neutral when the
It's
council
it's
takes it.
appointing evaluation is by the city manager and the city clerk, the council members. So that is not only council member self-appointing.
So thank you for clarifying then. Basically, what you're saying is that the council wants control of the city clerk. That's
No,
what you're
it's
saying.
not.
Well, I thought that
It's
was a
appointing.
clarification.
Appointing only, the evaluations on the city clerk. It's city clerk's been threatened by the former city manager to, as an authority to follow the order. He can't do anything.
I still don't get the community benefit, so I do not
It is
support
community
this.
benefit. It is not council.
The community
ever-
benefit happened when we changed the elected position of a person that was not completing their job, being paid for a job by the elected people
Well,
of this
right now, so
community.
we're not talking about the
And
election
that
position.
has
We are
been
out of
resolved.
Out of the items, item is only
This,
for the.
the circumstances right now
council.
is a catch-up. So why are we changing to where now the council wants full control of this position when the focus right now should be catching up? And
Well-
it's just uncomfortable to know that we keep trying to have so much full control of these positions. I think that we should be community-based and try to leave things neutral where the decisions are not going back to us. Let's let it go and let the city manager manage, let your directors do their directing, and we are policymakers. And again, I'm not going to support this item. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I vote to not approve this consent item.
I second that motion.
I call for the question, Mr. Mayor,
What, we have another person in the restroom.
in the restroom.
I think so.
Get the microphone out there.
The voting button.
Oh, well, I call for the question. Can we vote?
Well, it's going to be happening 2 and 2.
How do
do
you
we
know?
need-
You've
wait,
already
wait.
talked to Mr. Castro?
Okay.
We have a full council
So I
here, we
said-
can
I
vote
said-
without.
I said no.
You said no, I call for the question.
That's
so
what I'm
we
saying.
can-
No, I can, you're the voting, no?
No, I call for the questions. There's a first and a second. I call for the
No,
question.
no, you
Now
don't-
it's time to
she's
take
not-
action.
She's not making,
I've called to
no,
not
she
approve.
already made the motion, and you
He
seconded.
made the motion,
No,
sir.
she didn't make the motion. She pulled the item
Okay.
to discuss it. Now, I called for its non-approval,
Yeah, no, no.
And
And
she
I second the
seconded
motion.
Seconded, yes.
and now we want to take action.
Now we want
Well-
to vote, Mr. Kim.
You already voted, yes?
No, sir, the
No.
full
Okay,
council.
Okay, then let's vote then. We don't have one of the members here.
Yes, we are legally
coming in
able
here.
to vote, Mr. Kim. We're
So,
all,
Mr. are
we
coming
have
in.
a
Yeah, let's
consensus.
vote then.
Okay. Hurry, Mandy, we can't do it without you.
Okay, let's
There he
take
goes
the
again.
vote.
Oh, second try.
Mr. Re-
He didn't flush.
Let's take care of business.
Yeah. So then a motion to made it to say to not to approve the number 12.
To leave things as they are.
Yeah.
Then I said no. Mr. Castro?
No.
I say yes,
Mr. Moreno said yes. Number 12.
to
she
not
said
approve.
to not approve it. So which is to put it back to the under the city manager. So I said no. Mr. Castro said no. Mr. Moreno said yes. Ms. Hurtado?
I second his motion.
I think,
No, so you vote.
I second his motion.
I'm counting both.
Yes.
Okay, yes. 2 yes, 2 no's.
I think what the attorney says is, seems to be, I think, the way the majority of the cities are, which is, it's appointed by the city council.
Yeah.
But the city manager oversees her,
Mm-hmm.
or him. I would like to see it that way, so I don't know if we can amend, is that, can we
No,
can
we're already
amend the-
doing it.
Well, the motion is to
Second reading.
deny the second
All they
reading.
want is
So
control,
the
that's
idea
all
would
they
be to go ahead and vote on that motion and
And then
then
this attorney
come
here.
forward with a different motion if that one doesn't get approved.
It's no, yes means like we're not approving to.
When does this take effect?
If you approve it tonight, then it takes effect 30 days. It's an ordinance.
Okay, so, I would like to do a little more homework on this, so I will vote no,
Okay.
and then I'll make a motion to, continue it to the next,
No is no is no. No is means no.
okay, but we can.
Yeah, but we can bring
can
back
bring it-
some
bring-
other,
we can bring
bring
it
back
back.
some other issues.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
So-
so 3 no, so 2 yes. Then I make the motion to approve it. To number 12.
thought we went, okay. To approve it.
Approve it. Well,
I thought. I was in the bathroom.
yeah,
I don't
approve
know.
the number 12. I make the motion to approve number 12.
The prior motion I made was to not approve it. Mr. Mayor is now making it, and it didn't
To
go
approve,
through.
okay, so. Do you have
He needs a
do you have a
second.
second?
Mr. Castro, second.
On no, okay, so I'll vote no. Well, and I would like
Yes,
to
so
make,
I'm approving number 12. Number 12 approving. Yes, I make the motion to approve it. This, I need a clarification by the lawyer. Yes, another motion. This one been done. It's been, the no vote, no motion to say not to approve it. It's been turned down to 2 yes, 3 no. Now I make the motion to approve it, number 12,
But has there been a second to your motion?
second by the Mr. Castro.
Okay, so now vote on,
Yeah. So voting, yes?
no?
Mr. Castro?
Yes.
Yes?
No.
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 No, I can make a motion to continue to the next agenda, to the next agenda item, the next city council meeting.
I'll second that.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Can-
so we're
can-
gonna be continuing
hold
next
on,
meeting.
Hold on, can we give direction to the city manager to maybe look at some cities in our area and kind of give us an idea on how exactly they're dealing with, I know El Centro has an elected, is that correct? But can you give us something to kind of do our homework on that?
We can do some
As
research.
far as how other cities that don't have an elected clerk are working.
Okay, we can do some research and bring it back.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Real. Okay, number item was called the public hearings.
12A, JPIA.
Oh, 12A, yeah. 12A, the JPIA, the meeting. I think we need to have, so Ms. Hurtado was put on the agenda. So we were talking about the JPIA, what we're gonna do. And I believe we need to have a plan B, which is subside of, excuse me.
Yeah, currently
Insurance
we have,
options?
yeah, currently we have in the appeal hearing on December 16th at 4
16?
PM at La Palma, California for
What day, what today?
December 16th.
Oh, they
What
changed
time?
the date, not the 9 to 9?
No, it is December 16th at 4 PM in La Palma at the offices of the JPIA.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the JPIA wants the whole council to be there?
That's what they requested at the last hearing that we had, that they would like
And do we know
to-
what council members are going to go and support the city of Calexico for JPIA?
Currently, the ones that had said they would be attending are Mayor Kim, Councilman Castro, and Councilman Real.
Mr. City
I
Manager,
urge the
as
city
you
council to all
recall,
be there.
as you recall, Mr. City Manager, I declined to attend for the reason that I went before them in May, I went before them in October, and I'm not gonna go before them this time. You guys can all take care of business.
Correct, you
You
stated
went to the
that.
May?
May was a telephone conference, and they gave us an extension, and we did what we were supposed to do. And I went over last time, and they voted us down. I don't see how they're going to support our situation.
Do
I think it'll be futile if I go. It's like facing the judge 3 times. What's he gonna say?
not guilty.
But
Do we have a-
this
do we-
time, we need to talk about our serious situation, which is, we've been micromanaged by the JPIA. Actually, they
Well,
pick
you
the
go
person.
tell them that.
Yeah, I will do that.
You
I
tell
would
them
like to
that,
hear
and
from-
then I want to hear from our city staff, what happens in the event on January 1, where our Plan B or our Plan C do not come into fruition? What happens when we're without insurance, without workman's comp?
We will have insurance January 1. We have a meeting tomorrow with one of the brokers that we are currently working with.
What's
to
the name of the
bring-
broker?
Alliant.
Alliant.
Okay.
Who's your representative?
Liliana, I don't remember the last name right off the bat. Her name is Liliana.
Have the discussions been positive?
Yes.
Okay.
Have any initiations on underwriting started?
No.
Have you submitted all expected information with regard to, normally, statistics and things like that from our other coverages towards the new company?
Yes, we have.
Okay, but they have not yet started underwriting.
No.
As far as underwriting and the conclusion to the policy, what amount of time are they indicating to you that it takes to have a new policy issued?
By January 1.
No, how many days does it usually, because I've had a conversation which happened at the economic development meeting that we had with one of the representatives from, I think it's Allied, I'll get the card right now, and she was telling me 45 days.
They assured us that we could have insurance, that we would have insurance by January 1.
Okay, what type of policies is it that you're purchasing with this company?
It'll be the workman's comp coverage, general liability, and property.
And what are the term limits? The term, I didn't mean to say term limits, I meant to say policy limits, what are they?
We are working on those currently.
Okay, and do we have prices yet?
We were hoping to have prices within next week, yes.
Within this coming week, this week here?
Well, we will find out tomorrow when we talk to them, yes.
And as far as the JPIA and the possibility of losing JPIA, a lot has been discussed about the cost and the cost of losing that pool coverage. Have you been informed what that price is and what those costs are? Because there's a tail that we have to take care of, I understand. And those calculations, I understand, were already made in the past when we went through this in July. And I believe we already understood where we were at financially with having to leave the other company. So as far as the financial and fiscal impact, I think it's extremely important at this moment in time because we don't have a budget. We'd have no idea where our finances are. And at this given time, I think it's extremely, extremely critical that you tell this community how much this is costing.
From the last hearing that we had, this question was brought up to Mr. John Scholes, and he gave an estimated cost of $700,000 at the end.
But there's also other tail expenses that he indicated.
He indicated
Okay.
$700,000.
Could you provide us something in writing that indicates what the actual true formal response with regard to the amount due to JPIA will be?
Well, I have a recording all the meeting with the JPIA.
We
I
need
have my
updated
recording by phone.
information, Mr. Finley. We're not talking about a month ago. We're talking updated information right now. As Mr. Moreno indicates, we are 30 days away from this. And I will tell the public, I have not received any information from you whatsoever.
Well, you've been,
And no
you've been
information
heard,
from the
Mr.
attorney's
Murtado,
office
you've been
either.
heard by the phone, all the community meeting, you will hear it. You hear all the meeting, now you said you don't know about that, and the
That was-
$700,000, that's the only, that even not cost us, so we have to pay the insurance. The premium is the only balance of $700,000 we're gonna need to pay. That's not the cost of the expenses, so we have to pay for the insurance being covered.
I'm not
As I
gonna,
recall,
I have
Mr.
a
Mayor,
question.
As I recall, just want to give you a little summary. As I recall that John Scholl had said that we were in good rating with them, that we have not been delinquent, which is going to help our case. And I think at this time, I think we should allow you to move forward with this Alliant company or whatever the name of it is, and hopefully secure something by January 1st, because there's going to be some people that are going to be out of a job. If that,
right, and again, I think it's really important, Mr. Kim, not to be upset that we're asking these questions. I mean, this
No,
is
no, I'm
about.
not upsetting. You
we have
know
100
that you hear the meeting
That
and then you
was-
act like you don't know nothing.
Sir,
You heard the meeting, $700,000 over there.
sir, that was a month ago.
Well,
That was a month ago. And ever since a month ago, there has been no information to this council, well, at least not to me, what the status is. And I think that this council needs to put this insurance issue as a priority, and you're not. And I'm very disappointed with that. I'm disappointed not seeing on this agenda that you even cared to put it on the agenda and that we had to actually ask for this to happen. It should be your priority. And the fact that you're in that position right now is extremely important as well, because a lot of actions have taken place here without information to this community. A lot of action that's taken, as you can see, without knowledge to the council.
Ms. Hurtado.
And so we do need updates. It's not about being upset about it. We deserve, I'm sorry, we owe the community the information. And I would really appreciate that we look at that as a priority. Thank you.
Ms. Hurtado, Mr. Mayor, I feel that in the spirit of cooperation, that at the termination of this meeting, that no items be put on further agenda items so that we can allow Mr. Finley to secure whatever he needs to do to get our general liability and workman's comp in order. And I encourage this council to not place any future items on the agenda so he can get to work.
We have 175 employees that it matters for, and a lot of citizens, 40,000, that this needs to be priority. It just has to be priority. There's no other priority right now.
It is our priority, and we're working very diligently along with staff to get this
And
done.
the transparency of your information of your office to the council would be very helpful, and to your community as well. Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Hurtado.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I have received emails on all the things going on with the insurance. Is there a reason why, has anybody else in the council gotten the emails?
On what kind of-
I recall an email saying that there's actually.
2 months ago was the last email I got.
There's actually we found one that's might be even cheaper than JPI, is that correct?
Well, that'd be nice if that were shared with the whole council.
There was an email sent.
We got a lot of people asking questions,
That-
and it's been
that's-
2 months.
That's what we're working on,
Was that email
yes.
sent to Maritza
It
Hurtado?
was sent to all of you, yes. it
2
was.
months ago, Mr. Fendley.
Let's allow the city manager to provide us a full report, full disclosure at the next meeting. Let's move on.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. Okay, so if we had anybody, council member wants to talk, Mr. Castro?
No, I'm
Then we're gonna go for the next one, for the public hearings. The number 13, we're gonna open,
Number
public
13, I do
hearing,
have a conflict.
determine the whether.
Mr.
there-
Mayor, I do have a conflict on number 13. I am within the Business Improvement District myself, so I cannot, I'd have to excuse myself.
And I believe Mr. Kim is too.
Yeah, you probably have to excuse yourself and Mr. Castro as well.
Mr. Hargrave, the number 13, public hearing for the levy for the downtown, and I have, my wife has business there, and Ms. Hurtado has business there. So is that impacting our conflict of interest?
Yeah, I would say it would be best if you recuse yourself from this item, if you're going to be subject to this particular tax.
Even that we talking about the overall programs.
You know, there's what we call the public generally exception that covers some of these things. I mean, I have to sit down and do an analysis of it at this point, which,
But we had the two bulletins, where former lawyers was saying is if the general, it doesn't affect to the specifically so one council members, that they don't have to be excused themselves. And then other ones saying is a conflict of interest. So now we have two bulletins.
well, there again, the analysis itself is somewhat detailed, and I haven't had a chance to do it. Now, you're telling me that your previous attorneys, the one attorney said it was a conflict, another attorney said it wasn't?
It wasn't, because we approving general, and also this one kind of like it's kind of like annually we're doing it. And it's not proving it was called the one council members or two council members' interest to impacting their revenue.
I would suggest that given the uncertainty at this case, you either recuse yourself or we continue this item to the next meeting and I'll have a definitive answer for you.
Okay, so let's.
I think it's, his wife has a business downtown, which is in the heart of the business improvement district. And if that's not a clear case of conflict of interest, I don't know what is. So, I mean, they have the market on First Street, and he runs it, she runs it, they both run it. It may be under her name, but he's there, and he's working there. So, Mr. Kim, I think it's time that you be honest with the people.
Well, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
All right, okay.
Doesn't matter. Only my wife and me. As long as we live it together, I'm under same interest. It's, but the thing is, generally impacting or not. That's we have to see in it, because if we continue for the next meeting, you're gonna let us know.
Yeah, if it's continual, I'll have an answer for you by the next meeting. I'll have a chance to look into the details of it.
I mean,
Is this a time-sensitive item, city manager?
No. You're gonna make the motion then?
Yeah, I make a motion to continue for the next public council meeting on this item.
Second. Aye.
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 aye, whatever.
Okay. We continue for the number 13 for the next meeting. And number 14, public hearing, New River Class 1 bicycle trail project state clearinghouse number 2015101007. A, adoption of the resolution number 2015 of the City Council of the City of Calexico approving and adopting the new river class 1 bicycle trail project initial study mitigated negative declaration IS/MND State Clearinghouse number 2015101007. We open the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, I would recommend you get some background information from city staff before you open the public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, staff recommendation is to approve the negative deck on this project. It is a new river bicycle trail path project that is before you for approval. It is a resolution that needs to be passed in order for the continuance of this project, and it's a project that is in the works, and we need this resolution passed to seek additional grant funding from the state in order to complete this project. So that's what is brought before you at this
I
time.
believe they're $1 million short, roughly, right?
Correct, and they're looking for a grant to meet that.
So by approving this, we facilitate the possibility of looking for
Correct, it
other
is important,
grants.
it is important that this gets passed, yes.
Motion to approve.
Question though before.
Wait, we have to have
A real
public
quick
hearing.
question before that, though. We're talking grants. We can expend grants being that we're not audited just yet for 14, 15?
Correct, this is not, this is requesting a grant for this project.
Correct.
Additional funding,
But
correct.
we're not at the point of even being able to apply for grants just yet, are we?
We can apply for the grant at this time,
You can apply for grants although we haven't been audited or we haven't closed our books just yet?
that's correct.
Okay. What you're saying, we can approve we can write the grant.
That's correct, this is just following the procedure, this resolution needs to be passed, so we can continue with the request for the grant.
Okay. So, do you have some reasons of some grant we cannot apply? Some reason we can apply this grant? What's the reasons?
He just said,
not to apply.
he just said that we can apply for the grants. Is that correct?
This is important that this resolution get passed so that the grant can go forth.
This
Okay.
is the New River
Thank you.
Committee, correct?
Thank you. Okay.
Correct, for the new river
If
committee.
you had anybody who wants to talk, we have to open the hearings. So we're gonna open the hearing to 8:50. Anybody wants to come to opposing this project? We call once, two times, and three. And there's no opponents. Do we have any favor on this project? You want to reach the top? One? Yes, please.
My name is Kevin Bryan. I work with Leighton Associates.
Would you come here, please?
I just have a loud voice. My name is Kevin Bryan. I'm actually the project manager. I'm a consultant working with the city of Calexico on the Calexico New River Parkway project. The thing you're voting on this evening is to approve the resolution for the mitigated negative declaration on the project. What that is that's a environmental document that says the project will create no negative impact to the community or their environment. There's been a number of studies, 15 or 20 studies that have been done on the pathway for the parkway, and what this does is allow us to complete the CEQA documentation for the project. That CEQA documentation is critical to us being able to be the ability to be able to get a grant from the State Parks and Recreation Department. One of their criteria to get this grant is that you must have your CEQA documentation completed. This completes our CEQA documentation with the city approving this resolution. That's what that does.
And at one point, will you need to come in conjunction with the city and have us in the appropriate position to then follow through and apply for those grants?
That grant has been applied for already. There was a deadline for the grant, but to be awarded the grant, which we'll find out sometime before the end of this month who wins the grant, And we were strongly requested by the state parks to apply for this grant, but one of the caveats is you must have your CEQA documentation completed. So we've worked very hard with city and other consultants to finish the CEQA documentation. The last part of that is for the city to just approve it as a resolution that we agree with the findings of the city's consultants, is all that is.
Thank you.
City Manager, and the budget, as far as where we're applying these expenses with regard to the Parkway project, is still coming out of general fund?
I could answer that if you want. This is about a 4-year project for us, so we've been through quite a few staff and understand the project. So this money for the New River Parkway project came from a grant from the state, from traffic, state safety lieu funds, who is $3.8 million, $3.2 million, $800,000 matching from the state Natural Resource Agency. And so this grant money is earmarked only for this Parkway and can't be spent for anything aside that. It's not general fund dollars at all. It doesn't affect the city's budget. It is run through Caltrans and their their LAPM program. So it doesn't get mixed in general funds at all. It gets reimbursed through the Caltrans account.
So the city hasn't spent any money on this whatsoever?
I think the clerk.
There's somebody on the council that's on the New River Committee? Who would that be?
Well, it was Bill Hodge last time I checked. and
Who's on there now?
I don't know.
I think Mr. Hurtado.
I think it's
That's why I'm
Hurtado.
asking questions.
So you don't know this?
So at this time,
Okay.
as far as well, there's not any information, that's why I'm asking today, Mr. Real, please. At this time,
attend the
the monies have been expended as far as the New River project cleanup, and that's the clarification I was asking, is that now the city, anything having to do related to the the New River project, which your project is right along it, two different things. That's what I was just asking.
That's correct, 2 different things.
And
This
I
project,
and I fully understand that,
yeah,
but I'm just.
we can't touch the river or the water. We're not, that's a
Right.
totally separate
It
thing.
was more a question as far as what we're still doing, because without us as a city continuing with the effort and having to use some of our funding, your project won't be able to go through either. So it's important to have the information on both sides.
Absolutely.
I have more of it's not a question, I guess it's just for informational purposes. I've seen the project, I actually attended some of the meetings in the past when the New River Committee was meeting. I wasn't actually appointed, but I would still go. And one of my concerns, I guess, is that, this is all, getting $4 million to build a parkway and everything seems obviously like a great idea, right? But I see the parkway and we have grass on there. And one of the things that I've commented on in the past is the city doesn't have the resources to be cutting the grass. There's a water shortage. And to be honest with you, I mean, if you ask me if I'm going to take my kids to bike ride or walk on one of the most polluted rivers in the country, it's kind of far-fetched. And what I mean, I support the project, but I think that maybe a desert landscape should be changed in instead of the grass, or either turf or something that's not going to need the maintenance. We're very short-staffed. I mean, as you heard, the city's got some financial issues, and I think I'm putting it lightly. And so I definitely think that it maybe needs to be looked at again as far as the landscape.
Well, Mr. Rell, if you see there's some baseball diamonds, there's a soccer field, there's some other
No, I'm talking
parks.
about the pathway.
There's a part, the pathway goes by Nosotros Park.
No, but the pathway has grass as well.
I think I could help
I think the
quickly.
grass would be better than the desert landscape, because the grass would
Well,
minimize dust.
Who's going to cut it?
Well, there's money involved to be able to.
No, the
service.
city has to take care
No,
of that.
actually, the plans, I'm not sure what you're looking, I do actually know what you're looking at. It was the full plans from the strategic plan that was
But that's not,
legislative.
that's not,
No.
there's no parks or anything, it's just the
Nope,
walk.
nope, it's just a path, and
There is
we
no,
are-
no baseball fields or anything.
And it is desert, xeriscape is the term, there is desert landscape, and the plans where they stand now at 30%, and so you feel a little more comfortable. The plans will not be completed without city council review and approval. It will come to the city council. It is desert landscape that's been planned for that, and we are extremely sensitive to city O&M, operation and maintenance costs, and and how that thing is
But as of
developed.
right now, the city is supposed to
All we're doing
maintain it.
is approving a mitigated negative declaration.
That is correct.
Then let's vote on it, okay?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, wait, we're not finished the
I'm
hearing
just-
yet.
It's just a concern,
Yes,
sir.
you-
I
you
support
have-
it, it's
Oh,
just,
we have to officially
It's just a
close this
concern.
hearing.
if not, the council's
you.
gonna have to cut that grass. Let's go.
Thank you. Okay, now it's probably, if we don't have anybody that wants to speak, the 8:59, we finished the public hearing.
Motion to approve.
Second, aye.
Motion made by the Mr. Moreno, second by Mr. Real. We voted, we voting? Ms. Hurtado, aye. Who else? Ms. Hurtado? And no one voting?
Oh,
Oh,
I
machine
just,
using?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Mr. Moreno, not vote yet.
I made the motion.
Okay, but you still have to vote it. Let's give
Motion, we get a
unanimous.
faster voting device? or-
Yeah. Okay, we passed. Okay, number 15, public hearing. Looks like we're gonna have a staff explanation first. Mr. Philip.
Yes, we have Ralph Morales with our building manager who will be bringing the information staff report on this item.
Okay, I believe we have what's called the number. So that's it? Okay, go ahead.
Mayor, council members, the proposed project and requested application was reviewed by the City Project Review Committee, which is also the PRC, back in June of 2011. City staff and the PRC were supportive of the project and did not express any major concerns or comments. The draft environmental impact was circulated for a 45-day review period, which began on March 26, 2015, and ended on May 12, 2015. Comments and inputs received have been addressed in the FEIR and can be found in section 6.0 under responses and revisions to the DEIR. At the regular meeting on June 22nd, 2015, the Planning Commission voted 3-0 to recommend certification of the final environmental impact report and approval of the MMRP, and to recommend to the City Council approval of the general plan amendment, zone change, tentative parcel map, development review, and variance. Many of the members that were there, the public, testified at the public hearing in support and spoke in favor of the project. Before requesting for the public hearing, we like to invite the EIR consultant, Mark Bodger, pronounce his name properly, to provide some information on the process that was used and the findings on it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. For the record, my name is Mark Blodgett. I'm with the company Blodgett Belosis Environmental Planning, 11368 Kalima Road in Hacienda Heights, California. I have a short PowerPoint presentation that I'd like to present to you. I've been told that I need to cut my presentation from 45 minutes down to 5, so I did it. Okay, if we could go to the next slide, please. For this project, it was determined very early on that the City of Calexico was the lead agency. What that means is that the city's responsible for overseeing the environmental review for this project. We began with the preparation of what's called an initial study. And this initial study basically established the parameters of the analysis, and we went and looked at a whole range of issue areas, and it really did help us focus on the analysis in the EIR that followed. Now, this initial study was mailed out to various public agencies, neighboring cities, and to the state of California to solicit input and also to alert these parties that an EIR was being prepared. This notice is referred to as a notice of preparation. Next slide. Now, the initial study, we looked at a whole range of issue areas, and those are identified in the overhead before you. A previous environmental impact report was prepared for the phase 1, but in the time that transpired, state environmental laws evolved so that we were required to look at a number of other additional issues. Next slide. The issues that were eliminated from further consideration are in this slide. What this means is that as part of our preliminary analysis, we determined that the project would clearly not have any impact on these issues, and so we didn't have to look at them in the draft EIR. Next issue. These are, in fact, the issues that were considered in the draft and the final environmental impact reports, and is included in the document before you tonight. These issues range from air quality, biological resources, cultural resources, and so on. The paramount issues were really air quality, biological resources, and traffic and transportation and public services. Okay, next slide. I'm going to go through these very quickly. Basically, the operation of the project, as well as its construction, would generate emissions that would potentially exceed thresholds if there was no mitigation. The local air quality district reviewed our EIR, recommended mitigation, and with their recommendations and the other measures that were identified, we were able to mitigate all of those air quality impacts to levels that were defined by CEQA as being below significant levels. Next slide. The biological resources, the one preeminent issue had to do with the burrowing owl. And burrowing owl surveys were undertaken throughout the environmental analysis. A number of burrowing owls were relocated. The procedures and process that was followed had to meet the Fish and Wildlife guidelines, and with the mitigation and the successful relocation, the impacts are less than significant. Next slide. The cultural resources, we looked at paleontology, archaeology, historic resources, and in the site's present state, it was determined that obviously the historic resources were not an issue. Future grading could theoretically, you could encounter some cultural resources, artifacts, burials, and so we have mitigation in there to address this impact. And we were also aware that some historic burials were encountered as part of phase 1, so we made sure that that information was provided as well. Next slide. Greenhouse gas, that's a new issue. That has to do with global warming. Again, the local air quality district had numerous measures and programs that we needed to adhere to reduce the carbon footprint of the project. Next slide. Hazardous materials. Again, the preeminent issue here was related to a mishap during construction or grading, and so various agencies did recommend procedures that we should follow or must follow in the course of grading and project construction. With this mitigation, the impacts were less than significant. The The FAA, and that's a typo there, did review this project and find that there was no conflict with the airport land use plan with Calexico Airport. Next slide. Hydrology and water. This has to do with both surface runoff, what happens when the El Nino comes along and we have the surface runoff, where does that go? And also, how can we protect the existing groundwater and the New River from contamination? We've included extensive mitigation in the environmental impact report to ensure that, first off, construction activities would not create any contamination and any spill would be promptly handled. And then once the facility is constructed, that runoff water would be appropriately handled. Next slide. Land use and planning. One of the discretionary actions, these are actions that the City Council has to take, involves a general plan amendment from industrial to change a designation to commercial highway, because this is a commercial development. We looked at the SCAG land use policies that are applicable, the regional policies. We looked at the land use and development patterns in the immediate area, especially focusing on the phase one, and determined that actually a zone change and general plan amendment to a commercial related use would make the most sense. And then finally, there's other benefits in terms of the city's additional job creation that would also be a benefit to the city. Next slide. This is also, these basically just summarize the project's conformity to the SCAG policies with respect to jobs, housing, and commercial development. Next slide. Noise. It's in an area that is not located in close proximity to noise-sensitive uses. Those staff in their review wanted to make sure that we were conscientious with our neighbors in the Mexicali side, and so we ascertained that the traffic and the other operational impacts, construction noise, would not create a significant adverse impact on residents both in the city of Calexico and those to the south. Next slide. Public services. This issue was primarily concerned with police protection, fire protection, and critical governmental services. And there was mitigation that required the applicant to consult with these two entities, police and fire, to make sure that they were involved in a review and the planning and subsequent phases, and that also that any costs related to addressing level of service and demand impacts, that they would pay that impact fee. Next slide. Transportation and circulation was perhaps the most significant and probably the most difficult issue with respect to this project. We are required to follow certain protocols in preparing these traffic studies. They're very technical. We have to have a separate series of traffic engineering studies done. These studies are reviewed by the city and other agencies, and it was basically my job to make sure that it was incorporated into the EIR and that it could be understood by all. At the end of the day, we ended up with using the engineering methodology of approximately 22,000 additional daily trips per day. Now, when I looked at this project from a traffic standpoint, I saw a very good project. It has an incredibly high proportion of traffic coming in from Mexicali, and we used the border crossing data and the patronage data from phase one. We had that at our disposal. And so when you go to the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation menu, you'll get numbers like 22,000 trips a day. It's a large commercial development. But this project is unique. It's pulling in a lot of pedestrian traffic from the border crossing. Shuttles are being operated. A lot of the trips will be shared among the various businesses that are located there. And really, for a project this size, the impact on local city streets above and beyond the roadways that directly access this site from the border crossing will be employees and patrons living in Calexico that will shop there. But clearly, this project is designed to really capture that traffic from Calexico. Next slide. What we did find that all of the intersections where there would be a theoretical significant impact were already slated for improvements. The one benefit from this project is it's going to upgrade that southernmost part of town opposite of the airport and build on the existing Phase 1 center. Next slide. The utilities, again, the applicant is obligated to pay for any upgrades to infrastructure, water, sewer, that is needed to serve their project. And even at the time that we prepared this environmental impact report, the applicant and the city were working together to make sure that the various service providers were in agreement that this mitigation fee would be sufficient. Next slide. We also looked at urban decay. This is one of those new issues. It's not something that every environmental impact report examines, but for the sake of caution and being careful, city staff and their consultants indicated that we needed to address urban decay. Now, what that means is, will this project have a detrimental effect on other types of land uses or commercial development elsewhere in the city? And we determined that, this really is a different type of commercial development. We're not bulldozing downtown and building a project in downtown. This is actually designed to serve a very unique market. Next. Energy use, again, we needed to make sure that this project would be energy efficient, and we actually relied on many of those mitigation measures that were included in the air quality and traffic and greenhouse gas analysis. Next slide. That's it. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I will be more than happy to answer any questions at the appropriate time.
Okay. I think we still not open the public hearing yet. Before we do, I'd like to have some motion to extend our meeting because we're not going to be done by 9:30.
It's not 9:30 yet. At 9:30, we take that action.
Well, so we're not going to be able to finish by 9:30. All those public hearings, all the items there.
Let's finish this item and then maybe.
Just open the public hearing.
We're not started yet. We're just explaining the community.
I do have a question.
Any question?
May I? Yes. Great PowerPoint. It's a lot of information. I guess we We're starting now with the next phase of the Grand Plaza, and thank you very much for the information. But in looking at this PowerPoint presentation, there is quite a bit of mention as far as the responsibilities of the developer and the city of who pays what. And I know that when we did our first phase of development, we did have a developer agreement. And do we have a developer agreement going on right now for this second phase? And I'm seeing no over there. No? There is no developer agreement at this point? Not at this time, but there will be within the next 30 days.
Okay, so any questions?
We have to open public comment, right?
No, the question for the staff.
Oh, no. Is,
Okay,
what's the staff recommendation?
Well,
To
staff
approve?
Well, is to open for public hearing, get the comments, and then,
okay, we're gonna, wait before we make the
Approve
decision,
the-
we're gonna have
approve the
staff
resolution.
recommendations. Okay, then we're gonna open the public hearing, let's say 9:20. Is there any person wants to talk about the supporting?
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff, and citizens of Calexico. My name is Pam Danoff-Kraus. I'm the project manager for the Grand Plaza Power Center, and I'm here tonight representing the owner, and their address is 9034 West Sunset Boulevard, West Hollywood, California. The applicant proposes to develop a power center of approximately 1,069,400 square feet on 100 acres of vacant land at full build-out. The site is bounded on the west by the All-American Canal. To the north is West 2nd Street and the airport. To the south is the U.S.-Mexico border. To the east is the existing Grand Plaza Outlet Mall, the expansion of it, and the new river. Our objective is to construct an upscale retail destination with new large-scale retailers, creating an attractive, quality design that positively reflects the center's property's location as one of the first landmarks that comes into view when crossing the border from Mexico into the U.S. The construction process for the proposed project will consist of 2 to 3 phases. The first phase will include the development of approximately 12 buildings of 277,000 square feet. Construction is anticipated to begin in spring 2016. The proposed project will include areas for outlining pads which can accommodate sit-down or fast food restaurants. There's efficient vehicular access and parking, and a layout that encourages pedestrian crosswalk from the outlet mall. Trolley access will be provided throughout the shopping center to the western point of entry. The proposed project is created with design elements that complement the Grand Plaza Outlet Mall. A 10-foot colonnade has been incorporated into the project, which will provide them protection from inclement weather. The proposed signage features pylon signs on a center pole with double panels. The monument signs are placed at entry points on a curve for aesthetic reasons. We've also located the pylon signs adjacent to the monument signs to minimize the frequency of signage throughout the project. The master sign program also includes design elements such as super graphics that breaks up the building's architecture. The new International Port of Entry is a welcome improvement for the city. As we know, Cesar Chavez will be expanded, widened, and will be the major southbound traffic. Grand Plaza Power Center offers many new opportunities and benefits to Calexico. At full build-out, and stabilization per an independent study conducted by Kaiser Marston Associates, commissioned for the city of Calexico, property tax revenues will increase by $573,000 annually. Sales tax revenues will increase by $3.7 million annually, and there will be approximately 2,900 new jobs for full-time employees. In conclusion, this part of the city will undergo a dramatic transformation from what was a long, narrow parcel of dirt, beginning with a new international point of entry, a widened and improved Cesar Chavez Boulevard, a modern bridge over the new river, a fully improved 2nd Street all the way to the canal, to a destination retail center of 1.6 million square feet with the only outlet mall in Imperial County and the newest power center for the benefit of the citizens of Calexico, Imperial County, and our neighbors to the south. Thank you very much, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
You projected future revenues for the city in the next phase. Can you tell us what the actual revenues have been for the city in your estimate for what you've already built so far?
For the outlet mall,
What you've built so far, and what we have so far, the first phase. What has the first phase been doing for the city of Calexico? I think that's important for you to say.
well, the first phase has, it started off, but I believe right now that you're getting annually 1.4 million.
And that's what I'm trying to point out or ask. The question is, we're looking at projections for the stream of revenue for the future phase. What is our stream of revenue? Maybe our finance director can tell us that. What is that stream of revenue that we're experiencing right now from the first phase? I had understood it was around $500,000 also for our first phase coming into the city. After everyone else takes a piece of that pie of those sales, the city actually received approximately, as far as I understand, somebody can help me here, I believe that what I'm trying to get at is that this first phase was also extremely beneficial for this city to have built, because it's bringing in a lot of money as far as sales tax, and that's what you're trying to say. So you're saying our future developments will have awesome sales and awesome amounts coming back to the city, but our first phase did too. And our first phase is something that why we still want to continue to build is because we were so successful in the first phase. That's my opinion. I think we were very successful in the first phase.
Well, right now, the outlet mall is 94% leased. I can tell you that as of yesterday, on one of the pad that's existing, Arco signed a lease for a gas station and convenience store.
Yay. Awesome.
So that's done. This week, being circulated, Steinmart has signed their lease. Being circulated right now is the TJ Maxx and Ross Stores lease, which we hope to have signed this week.
Okay, get the credit cards ready, ladies.
For clarification, Mr. Marshall Lynn, as of now, the city's only getting the $300,000, correct? and then the 215,000 over that goes to the bond payment, and then the next whatever amount is split 50-50. That's pretty much the waterfall, correct? So as of right now, the city is pretty much getting about $300,000 a year, which is not a lot of money, but it's if we see it in the future, then we would get 100% of that tax revenue, correct? Ultimately. And that's in a 10-year term, around 10 years, is that? Okay, thank
You
you.
must understand, the first phase is of the outlet, it's only 300,000 square feet.
That did really well. Congratulations.
Well, I think I had to request the city manager about the sales tax last couple of years, 12, 13, 13, 14, and 14, 15 sales tax.
I believe there was a study done by a independent
No, I think,
company.
no, I think we had a,
I forget, it's
we
a
had the budget
three-letter
report
company,
and
I
the
forget the
amount.
name of it, but do you guys know about that study?
Well, are you talking about the Kaiser Marston study?
No, I think there was another study that the city, I don't know if someone from the staff knows about this. There's a study made to find out exactly what the amounts were that the city was getting. I forget the name of the company, but I do recall. HDL,
HDL,
correct.
yeah.
So do you have those? Do we have a report from HDL on?
HDL estimate was last year approximately $580,000 was generated by the first phase of the grant project.
For last year?
Well,
500,000,
I think we have the sales report, sales report they have.
We're going to be bringing that before you. We are having we tried to have a meeting with the HDL, and we ended up having the HDL property sales, property tax representative come and not the sales tax. So we will be making another appointment as we contacted the wrong division.
Okay, but I like to know the overall sales tax, not only from the Grand Plaza. I was requested during the briefing, I was requested to have the report on the 12, 13, 13, 14, and 14, 15 years about the sales tax.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask a question to City Manager. What we're voting and taking action on today are environmental issues, are zone changes, parcel maps, et cetera, nothing to do with finances or anything of that nature, right?
That's correct.
So
Well,
this is, what
actually-
let me finish. What we're doing is taking action on these items that were approved by Planning Commission back in June. Is that correct?
June 22nd.
Okay, so let's take action. It's already been almost 6 months. I motion to approve the number 1, which is the findings of fact.
Wait a minute,
Second with no discussion.
We're not done yet.
I'm
We're
done
not
discussing this.
We're
I'm
not
done too.
done yet. We're
This
not
is
done the.
environmental issues, Mr. Kim.
We are still on the public hearing. Yes, we are still on the public hearing. I'd like to make some council member to make the motion to extend the meeting.
Extend the meeting?
Yeah, because time, because 9:30 already,
So moved.
Go ahead.
okay? The second by,
Second.
okay? Okay, go ahead.
Aye.
I'd like to have the sales tax information, because right now.
Mr. Mayor, this is not on the
Excuse me.
agenda. The scope of this
Yes, but
action
does it-
is a public hearing for the Power Center to approve the finding of facts, the general plan amendment, the zone change, the tentative parcel map, the development review, building height, master sign program. Has nothing to do with sales tax, has nothing to do with revenue. This is environmental issues.
Thank you for
Let's-
interrupting.
Ándale.
Okay,
Thank you
let's
for
take
interrupting.
action on that.
Let's take, I'm asking for that, because
So-
they were, presentation say that's $3.7
This
million
is
sales tax.
environmental, sir.
Okay.
This is not
The word
any
presentation was
fiduciary.
3.7, so I was requesting
Okay.
about sales tax increase.
But you're wasting time out here.
Okay, so
We will provide you that at the next meeting.
Thank
The
you.
next
Thank you.
meeting. The last one, the budget is, show the difference, only $100,000 differences. Now we're saying the $37 million is gonna be.
I call for the question.
Future?
Second.
I call for the question. I make a motion to approve the
No, but,
resolution of
wait a
finding.
minute, we're not done
You're not
yet.
telling me, I'm making a motion, sir,
So
and I'm.
you're not
you're-
making the motion, because it's a public hearing. It's not done yet.
Well, close the public hearing. Everybody's
Even-
spoken.
Okay, we have to have open the public hearings.
It was already
we're gonna-
open.
It was
Yeah,
already
we'll open
open?
it. So this is, anybody was approving? I have two persons who was wish to talk. The Benjamin Holton.
Benny,
Benny, we know you're in favor.
we're hungry. Just say yes.
Trying to take some action here.
To make it quick, I hope that we can approve this. I did have one.
Thank you.
One question. In reference to the outlet, they're looking to enclose it and air condition it. Will this be air conditioned completely enclosed? Then that's all it needs to set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holton. Next person, Jason Chung.
Patience.
Well, I know there's a couple of upset planning commissioners, Ms. Josie Felix and Mr. Romero, who wasn't able to make it today. But, you know, I hope Josie comes up here and says a couple of words because she's more knowledgeable about this Grand Plaza project thing, because a lot of the things weren't brought back to the planning commission for them to review or get a resolution on, because Nick Servin neglected to do his job as he should have. And another thing is this, Mr. Real, you should recuse yourself from all Anani voting from anything that has to do with development, because you did open a consulting firm called AMC Consulting Project Management, established on 11/6 of 2015. So if you're going to be consulting with developers, you shouldn't be voting on these things. It's
I'm
a
not
conflict of
consulting
interest.
with Grand Plaza at all.
Say again?
I'm not consulting with Grand Plaza at all.
Who are you consulting with?
Other people, but not Grand Plaza.
Okay, so are you consulting with Kevin Smith?
No,
Are you sure about that?
positive.
Okay, because we know your wife got a job at the golf course, right?
She's not my wife,
Oh,
actually.
please
Or
don't
your
get.
ex-wife.
Get
Okay.
raised.
Stop listening to Mr. Kim, buddy. Ridiculous.
Okay. Anybody's opposing? Okay, so we don't have any public to wish to talk. We're gonna be closing the public hearing to the 9:36. 9:36, we close the public hearings, and then we go to the hearing for the staff recommendation.
It's
Did
right
you
there.
close the
It
public?
says- It says to
You haven't
approve.
closed the public hearing.
Yeah,
It
we
says
also
to
close
approve.
it.
It says approval of resolution, approval of resolution. I move that we approve the resolution of finding of facts.
Not yet. So we have to have the considers.
We have to have what?
We have to have the public, we already have.
We've already had presentations, we've already had people talking,
No,
Mr. Kim.
that's not, that's what you're saying, the city staff recommendations.
City staff recommendation is to approve the items A, B, C, D, E, and F. and-
One at a time, right?
Correct, one at a time. And these are just the environmental issues to go forth with the project. Before any building permits or anything are issued, of course, all the fees will be paid and before any building permits are issued to this
So
project.
your recommendation is pay all the fees before the issue, the condition, before the.
We're not
before
talking
the
about
old-
fees, we're talking about environmental impact reports.
What are you talking about the
We're
staff
not, are there
recommendation?
fees on this to take action? Then let's take action, people.
Look,
There's
We
no
do not
fees
have a
here.
developer
look,
agreement, Mr.
this
Kim. If
developer,
you're-
they owe us the couple $1 million of fees.
Mr. Kim, that has
So
nothing to
that's-
do on
that's
the
a step- okay,
agenda.
That's a step in recommendations.
Right,
Okay, so why you interrupting the recommendations?
because you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I think it's a step knows better than you, okay? The step recommendation is the collecting, condition to collecting all the fees be behind it to approve it.
Staff recommendation is to approve the items as noted A, B, C, D, and E. And before any.
There's no fees.
Right, there's no fees attached, exactly. I was
Mr.
just
Mayor, I
saying-
move that we approve the resolution of finding of facts number A. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Aye.
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 No.
Aye.
4-1. Mr. Mayor, I approve the approved resolution of general plan amendment.
So that means
There's a
they
motion
owe
on the
us,
floor.
they owe us
Second.
about
Has
$6 million
nothing to
of
do with
impact
what's on
fees.
here.
Aye.
Wow.
Mr. Chair, you must respect your counsel.
This
Okay.
is environmental. This is
Okay.
signage.
He did
Okay,
first,
thank you.
I approve resolution of general plan amendment.
and then I think Mr. Real did second. Anyway, I am,
Aye.
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 We'll debate it.
That was number B. This is where I'm B right now.
Or individual, you said all of them. Okay, we have it individually?
He closed the public
We
hearing.
have to do it individually, is that correct?
I'm on letter B. I move to approve resolution for
Oh,
general plan
The
amendment.
attorney says we can do it all together.
No. We've done it individually before.
The attor-
You can do it either way as long as everyone votes the same on each one of them, but
I think we've got
it's
2 for
better-
2.
I think it's better just to go,
Okay, I
Item
move,
by
and
item
I'll
by
follow your recommendation to approve A, B, C, D, F for UA 2014-02 Grand Plaza Power Center on these items, which is, I've mentioned right now, that are in
Second.
the book.
I
Second.
think you forgot C.
I didn't get.
E.
E, you forgot E.
Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F.
Second.
Aye.
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 I note for the record, supposedly to approve the staff recommendation to collect all the fee before the issue.
This is
There
not
is
on
no
the
staff
agenda,
recommendation
Mr.
indicating
Now,
fees.
this is my right.
It may be your
Is my
right, but it
right?
has nothing to do
Okay,
with what's on here,
yes.
sir.
Yes, that's what.
Do
that
your
was-
homework.
Yes, I do. We collect the fees. So we should approve this one with the collections of the staff recommendations. So I said no, I said yes, but we have to collect all the fees.
Whatever.
Thank you. Yes.
5-0, would you please
Yes.
say it's 5-0? Is it 5-0, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, 5-0,
Thank you.
okay. But my note is supposedly we have to approve the staff's recommendations.
There is
Thank
no
you.
staff recommendation here.
Okay, then discussion and the potential action items. Number 16, annual maintenance agreement for the Spillman Technologies.
Move for its approval?
Second.
Third.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 17.
For item
temporary-
number 17, Mr. Mayor, I will be recusing myself as well. I am a business owner. And I will be, I'm going to recuse myself.
There's several things, so we can by the way, one by one.
Mr. City Manager, this is what we're referring to on that, on 17?
That's correct. Those are the fees that the city of El Centro has, and basically that would be what you would be approving tonight.
A, B, C, D, E, and F?
That's correct.
And I believe it was placed on the agenda for the record by Mr. Real and myself.
Correct. In
Motion to approve?
Second. Aye.
Aye.
Well, we have I'd like to have the separate with the discussions. Because the business-
We already voted. Three ayes.
3-1.
3-1.
I mean, 3-1.
There was a comment, right?
There's
Was someone going to
we have
comment?
to- We have to have a comment too.
We approved it, ya lo aprobamos.
Approved.
Okay. No tiene que hablar, no tiene que...
Well, they may have to abstaining because they said I want to separate for the business fees, but I'm abstaining because the business, I'm conflict of interest.
All, pretty much four of us are business owners. I'll make a motion that the business owners continue to pay the high fees. It doesn't matter to me. As long as it brings business to the city, I'll pay the high fees. That's not a problem.
Okay, number 17 is approved.
18.
Number 18, authorizing acting city managers and to sign change order number 3 with the Unicom Government Incorporation in the amount of the $569,000, $711.64 for the advanced metering infrastructure AMI system project. Please,
This enterprise fund?
Yes, it is. What happened was the wrong size of meters were ordered, and they ordered 3/4 inch meters instead of 1 inch meters that are being required. We conducted an audit, so we need to make this change.
And there's money to cover this.
That's correct.
So moved.
well, I'd like to have,
So who?
18.
I have a question too, actually.
When I would remove myself, you guys like give me just a few minutes to get over here so I can participate?
Who messed this up?
This audit, I guess.
I mean,
was
this is a,
conducted-
this is a $500,000 mistake in ordering the wrong, type of meters, and this meter company doesn't want to take them back, correct?
They're taking them back, but they're charging us a restocking fee.
Wow. So who actually committed this mistake?
Past administration.
Well, you know,
A
I have
certain person, or-
a bit of a
the person is engaging.
comment about that. I have a comment about that, sir.
Department?
Was it the engineer or the city manager, or?
Past administration.
The both
And I believe
involved.
that's incorrect, because I was briefed by this company, and apparently the error, as far as the amounts of the different items that needed to be ordered, the incorrect information was given by your staff. And I can tell you the name, but I won't do it. But the fact that the incorrect information was issued from the city, apparently I got a call from this vendor, and this vendor's not happy in the manner in which things are being conducted as far as business. I think it's really important that we avoid these types of things in ordering, because a change order for $500,000, that's a lot. That is a huge mistake. And so this type of mistake is not appropriate for a municipality to be having with vendors in this manner, because now we are inconveniencing a vendor for $500,000 of a product that apparently was not ordered correctly from the get-go. Placing blame right now probably doesn't matter anymore. The thing is, this is not good for business, and we're looking so difficult to work with when we have these types of issues and trying to place blame.
No, I
So
think
the question here is,
$500,000 mistake, this is.
I understand we
need to
have
know
some
who this was.
representatives from the
this
company
was.
here, if they'd like to speak up. I don't
Yeah,
know if they'd
that
like
would
the
be great.
opportunity.
I think so. I think so. We have the city manager to someone who's responsible on that has to be disciplined.
And an explanation as to a little more in-depth, because we have the media here, and they don't even understand what happened here, but apparently.
And also, this is not
I
the
can
first
explain it,
change
or-
order, correct?
Pardon?
This is not the first change order.
No,
There's
this
been
is the third.
several.
This is the third change order.
Can you tell us the amounts of the past change orders?
I believe one was for approximately $30,000, and the other one was close to, God, I want to say 900,000.
$900,000 change orders? And did that come to council?
No.
Wow.
So without the council approval,
Wow.
they've changed the $900,000
A
order.
$900,000 change order without council approval?
That's correct.
Do you have the date when that occurred, City Manager?
Is that part of the $6 million that they overspent? I'm sure it is, huh?
I think we have some.
City Manager, do you have the date on that
Okay.
$900,000 change order?
I don't have the backup, but I could provide it to you.
Okay, I think the person was talking, wants to finish talk?
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council.
I stand corrected.
Okay,
The first change order was for $674,560.72.
Did that go to council?
The second change order was $26,995.63.
Did any of those go to council?
No.
Okay, without the council approval, almost $1 million we spent it.
That's correct.
Wow. Okay, I think they have some gentlemen who wants to talk.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, my name is Stan Barnes. I'm the Principal Project Manager for Unicom Government for the U.S. My associate Jeremy Barnes is here. He's the project manager on the ground for this project. First of all, I'd like to thank you, first of all, for entrusting us to deliver this project to you in a good manner. Just to shed a little bit of light on it, first of all, we're here to provide facts. We don't want to get in any sort of political tug war. So, that said, the original estimate that we gave to the city was based on a certain count of meters, sizes, configurations, and that particular count turned out to be wrong.
Some were 1 inch and some were 3/4, correct?
Yeah, the residential side of the contract was for 3/4 inch and 1 inch meters. The count that came back was very heavily 3/4 inch meters and not that many 1 inch meters. As we progressed, well, let me address the change order sequence too. I think that's important too, so that Councilman Real can have his question answered. The first change order was for the commercial side of the contract. It wasn't because any mistakes were made. There was no issues there. That was just, we did the residential side first in order to get the project moving, to get the meters ordered, and so that we could get the project moving. Then we did the commercial side of the house on change order, and that's all that first change order was. The second change order for $29,000 and some was simply for gaskets that had been left out of the original order. It was just gaskets for the residential and commercial side.
There's also been, I've actually had video camera of the meters are breaking, and they're throwing water all over I'm just saying the people that are installing them, my understanding is they're having a lot of I guess they're breaking on one end or something's going on with the installation, but
Who's reporting that, the community or staff?
Yeah, the community. I have recordings of them breaking.
Understood.
And so because they're plastic.
Well, they are plastic, yeah, it's what the city desired, so.
But why didn't we order brass? I mean, it's really hot here. How did that not happen?
That's not our call. We're the contractor. We order what you desire, whatever your engineers say that you'd like. We recommended brass. Our supplier recommended brass.
You recommended brass, and the
Sure we did.
engineer said no?
It's very, very expensive. And these are meters that are being installed by the tens of thousands nationwide. They're a very
I know, but it's
reliable
120, 130 degrees sometimes, especially.
Understood.
I'm
a
just
native
saying,
of Palm
I didn't know, when they came in, they actually sold this to the city. I remember I was new on council, and first of all, they said that it couldn't be installed by anybody local, which I understand other cities have. I think City of El Centro or Imperial is doing it, and they are having local people install them.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that was something that I was upset of, whoever the guy was that came and lied to me. But, that's in the past, but.
That wasn't one of our people.
Yeah, I want,
guarantee you that.
he said it had to be this company or else, they wouldn't warranty it. And I found out in other cities, they're using local companies, which is creating jobs for the
Absolutely.
region. And I'm very upset about that, but I voted on it, and what's done is done. But for some reason, I don't know why they didn't go with brass. They're having a lot of issues with
No,
them. And
I'd
I think
agree.
we're going to continue to have issues with them in the future.
Well, they may. Any of them that are breaking, though, they're warranted, and we're taking care of it. And maybe the city manager could help us with this, too. You made us aware of some of those issues early on. Are these old issues, or are these new issues?
There's some that are continuing as we speak, where the meters are actually breaking at the coupling side of the meter, and they're being replaced as.
Is it
we
because
go
of a
along.
misalignment or something, and they're having to deal with it? We'll deal with it. We'll deal with that, but I guarantee you that they'll be installed, they'll be under warranty, everything will be fine. We don't do shoddy work. We just don't. So, should I continue with the rest of the?
Were you saying that Palm Springs also has plastic and not, were you going to say that? That
No, I
Palm
wasn't.
Springs- Okay.
I was just going to say I'm a native of Palm Springs, and I'm aware of the heat for sure. But anyway.
Does Palm Spring have brass fittings?
I don't know. I've not done any work there. But I can tell you that we've installed over 12,000 of these same meters in the city of Houston and other places, Texas, hot.
And with 12,000 units, they're not all going to be perfect, so there will be issues.
We stand behind our
naturally.
work. We stand behind our work. If there are issues with any of the meters, we'll stand behind it. The supplier and the manufacturer will also. As it relates to the options that we have related to how to deal with this issue now, because we negotiated with the supplier to take these back, and the 3/4 inch meters back in the first place. Their first answer was they wouldn't take them back at all, and we said that's not going to fly.
What's the restocking fee?
They have to reprogram them. They have to reprogram the meters because they're an electronic device, basically. So they have to reprogram them, they have to reshelve them, they have to take them back that way.
And who's this company? What's the name of the company?
Pardon me?
The name of the company is?
Census.
Census, and so how much is the restocking fee per unit?
Per unit, I didn't do the math. 120,000 off of 420. The credit was around 420, and the stocking fee was 25%, was what it was.
25% restocking fee?
Yeah, and I questioned that myself.
Wow.
Yeah. We're your advocate, trust me. We're doing everything we can to try to keep the cost down. We offered a second option to buying the 1-inch meters also, and that was to rather than buy the 1-inch meters and return the 3/4 inch and take the hit on the restocking fee, we also presented an option of utilizing the 3/4 inch meters that you have, buying adapters and stepping them down and using them where you ordinarily would have a 1-inch meter, except where it's required by fire code.
That would be cheaper for everyone involved?
Well, it would have been, but it's, the staff recommends that we don't do that because it could provide another leak point on each side. Now, that's, again, it's your call. We are here to serve. And that option was $299,000 and some.
So the adapters were a lot cheaper than this $500,000 change order just to have the 1-inch on everybody's
To go,
service.
the 1-inch is more expensive, but again, there's
And
some
I
merit in what the
I
city
understand in
council.
some of my due diligence and trying to capture a little on this issue and subject is that residential usually will work with a 3/4.
Say that again?
Residential will usually work with a 3/4 is sufficient.
Well, again, your staff is, your water department knows better than I do about that. I'm a contractor. I'm not an engineer. Yeah,
Do you want to give some insight on that?
Basically, it has to do with the hydrology and what the requirements of the home or the residents, and some are required to have a 1-inch because of fire flow if they have sprinklers, and Mr. Finley could probably.
So in general, by allowing for this change order, we're taking the more expensive route to solve the need of completing this project.
We're taking the more appropriate route and putting these meters that are 1-inch services back as 1-inch services to their homes and not reducing them down, because it may cause a problem with the existing either fire system, irrigation system.
But I understand the
whatever.
majority are already 3/4, so
No, they're not.
Well, I can't answer
I think that's where the problem was in the first place, is that we didn't have the correct count for you, and we apologize.
Well, yeah, but it was actually in contrary. There's actually more 1-inch meters than there are 3/4 inch meters. So we would be reducing thousands of 1-inch meters down to 3/4 inch meters. So again, there is merit in what Mr. Finley has to say about the potential for leak on each end. I suppose if you were to take it one more step, you might do an analysis of how much you might spend over 10 years' time to repair possible
Right.
leaks, but I mean, that's just conjecture. That'd be, you'd need an engineer to go out and literally look at every location to try to make that kind of determination. So, again, I appreciate the opportunity to come here and talk to you about this, first of all, because we want to make sure we're doing the right thing for you guys.
So,
And we want to make sure that we don't commit this type of error in our staff to be making these types of huge projects and not be providing correct information.
I want to know who the error came from. Do you know who
It
that error
doesn't
came
matter
from?
who the error came from. We learn from this and move on.
It sure
And that it
does.
not occur
Does that
again.
person still work for the city
That
of
we not-
Calexico?
and that we
I don't
not-
No? Okay.
That we
I
have
don't
good
know anyway.
relationships with our vendors.
Yeah, I don't know anyway. I know it wasn't our folks, and in hindsight,
There is a hindsight.
yeah, there is. We should have done a basic audit like Mr. Finley had done, so that we would have had a good count. And the city at the time didn't want to do an audit, and it didn't get done.
Good job, middle management.
So, and again, I'm very reluctant to make it sound like I'm throwing anybody under the bus here. We all work very well as a team. We're getting this project done, and that's the main thing.
I understand you also have another project coming for us, right?
Pardon me?
I understand you have another project coming for us?
We've quoted another project for you, yeah, for your council
That's why it's
chambers.
important to not allow this to happen again.
Oh, yeah, no, like I say, we're your advocate, and we're here to serve you guys. I hope that helped. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So, will this be the last change order?
Yes.
All right, so $569,714. So, do we even have this money?
This is enterprise money out of the water fund.
All right.
Okay, and then.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Leal,
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
second by Mr. Moreno. We vote.
No.
Aye.
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 Ms. Hurtado? No? The 4-1? No, but Ms. Hurtado is passed. Okay, the other one is number 19. General Services Administration, GSA, request to use First Street toll list parking lot.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Aye.
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 Okay, we passed. Ms. Hurtado?
I'm sorry, I didn't get briefed by you yesterday, City Manager, and I actually haven't had any briefings whatsoever, so yesterday was supposed to be my briefing. So can you tell us a little bit about that? I'm sorry, I'm trying to
Yeah,
ask
this-
John here.
This is
We're
a,
already in the boat. We're on the boat.
And I do have
You're
the
not meeting
right
with
to
her on
have
briefings?
an explanation.
Well, to
Mr.
ask
Chair.
Mr. Moreno, or they're just rushing the boat.
this was a request from GSA due to the fact of the new port of entry. They had to move their parking facility for their employees over to the old port of entry, and they're utilizing the back section of that is the fenced-in area on the east side of the old port of entry. However, they don't have enough spaces for their employees, so they're requesting that we allow them 20 spaces within the tourist parking area just east of the orthopedic clinic for their staff.
Are
That,
we charging a fee for that?
pardon?
Are we charging a fee for that?
That's why we're here before, because there is a fee that's monthly fee for just $15 per month for each space, you know, that for each parking
I'm aware, my
permit.
staff
Right.
parks there.
So basically, that's why it's before you, because they want that amount waived, which is about $300 a month on
So
parking.
this is actual a waiver, that's what you're doing here.
Correct.
So the item as it's indicated on your agenda should have said about a waiver, and it doesn't. So I think we need to be a little more careful on how we set these items up, City Attorney, so that they're very clear when people are reading these. So this is about a waiver.
Correct. It's waiving the 20 parking permits
Well,
until the
the request
construction
to
is
use,
finished.
it's still the same thing.
Maybe we shouldn't approve it so the port doesn't get done, I guess.
So, okay, so then my vote would
Okay, we have the motion to, from the Mr. Real,
Aye.
and the Mr. Moreno was second.
Aye.
That's, we voting?
Aye.
Aye. So Mr. Real,
Aye.
Mr. Moreno, Ms. Hurtado?
Aye.
Thank you, 5-0. We passed it.
I move to
And-
continue the next items for the next meeting. I don't
23?
think that,
Second,
23?
all of the rest of
all
them.
of it.
23.
What is 20?
I'm sorry, sir, you're going to have to come back. No, I'm just-
We almost done.
We're on 23 now, correct?
No,
No, 20.
Oh, that was.
we're 19.
Motion
have
to
a-
move up number
the
23
20?
to
Special financing for the public restroom sports?
John.
Okay,
He's
number 20?
he's been here all.
I know.
I can't vote
Yeah.
on that item, I didn't get briefed.
Well,
This is going to
Can-
be a long item, I
Yeah,
wasn't
we're
briefed,
gonna keep
Mr.
it
can we move it up?
Finley, and I
23?
believe it's an
Okay,
important item for him.
can you let us know why this section? I attended JPA meeting today, and you kind of elaborated on it, but Mayor Kim wants to do some restrooms by the JPA money, but my understanding from the attorney is,
Eduardo Rivera for Heffernan Memorial. We're your partners in the Calexico Special Financing Authority. We noticed during the weekend when you published your agenda that you had, Mr. Kim had this item whereby the purpose of the item is to try to obtain consideration by the JPA for the building of restrooms at certain city parks. The JPA doesn't have any money except the money that belongs to the Heffernan Memorial Healthcare District. And the JPA's only function right now is as a trustee and as a holder of the money for the healthcare district. In your package, you have the actual Special Financing Authority agreement. And in section 17, page 9, it specifically says that the sales tax money is for the exclusive use of the Heffernan Memorial Healthcare District. So I'm sure that there was a misunderstanding that somehow the JPA money was JPA's money and you could do whatever you wanted with it, but you can't. It's specifically restricted for the use of Heffernan Memorial. And the mechanism that's been used is that Heffernan Memorial goes to the JPA, makes a request for a reimbursement, and the reimbursement is made. We've had the agreement since 1996, so there shouldn't be any doubt as to what the use of the sales tax money is, and that is for the benefit of the healthcare district. So this isn't a healthcare issue. This is a park issue, a recreational issue, and you have Measure H monies, you have general fund monies, you have impact fees, you have a lot of fees that you can address this issue because evidently it's not actual building of restrooms, it's actual purchase of trailers which have restrooms and so forth.
So funding for the building of a bathroom or restroom could not be used with,
No,
so there's no action to be taken?
there shouldn't be any action.
Okay, thank you.
There shouldn't be any action. One of the reasons we're here is because the public shouldn't be under a false impression that money is available at the JPA, when in fact there isn't any money at the JPA. The money in the JPA is Heffernan Memorials.
We do apologize, Mr. Rivera. We need to learn the basics about Heffernan Memorial, apparently.
Well,
And we will.
okay, thank
So-
you, Mr.
So if you
Rivera.
have any questions, Mr. Kim, I'll try to explain them or answer them to the best I can.
Apologize for
Can
taking
you give
your
us some
time.
money for the general fund? We're gonna need it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the reason I put it there, and the Memorial Heffernan Board, the JPA, especially JPA, they fund the $500,000 for the money for the mega park, and the money they spending money for the wellness for the community. So which is why we can council member to make the decision to recommend to JPA to spend money for the set what's called the restroom. A lot of kids playing the restroom.
I understand. I mean, obviously everybody would like to have a restroom in a water retention
Yeah.
basin, but that we're using as parks. But what the attorney's saying is that that's not in the bylaw. That can't happen. Is that correct? That's correct. So
But then how can we they using for the mega park? They give the $500,000 money to the mega park
because
to
they were
build
going to
it.
purchase that to build what was it? What was a clinic or? So as long as it's a clinic or something like that, they can, as far, I mean, like I said, that's just what the attorney.
Council doesn't have a power to make the decision. Actually, we have to.
So wouldn't the
council
correct way be to take it first to Heffernan?
No, but JPA to.
No, the Heffernan has to
No,
approve it.
JPA. JPA, the money belongs to JPA, which is the money is set aside. The Heffernan has two money.
No,
One
I know
for
the
the
JPA,
money
but-
comes in, and the other one is from the bond. I believe they issued the money left over by a little over $1 million. So that one,
Attorney-
the money we're talking.
No, there is no bond money, Mr. Kim. That bond money was borrowed, the bonds were issued, the bonds were repaid, and that was one of the purposes for the JPA. That's been long ago paid off.
That's
So
the money left over. The money left over we're talking.
I beg your pardon?
The money is left over after we paid all the debt. They have money left over.
No, but what you're confusing is the bond money, which was separate from the half-cent sales tax money.
Yes.
That's the only money that's left in the JPA,
Yes,
is the
the sales
half-cent
tax.
sales money.
Yeah.
And Section 17 on page 9 of the agreement that you have in your agenda specifically says that those half-cent sales tax are for the benefit and use, exclusive use of Heffernan. Not the city of Calexico, not the city of Calexico's Parks and Recreation, not for bathrooms, it's for the exclusive use of Heffernan.
But that have to be made the decision by JPA.
No, the
Yes.
JPA doesn't
Yes,
have
JPA.
any decision
Then there's no
whatsoever.
reason to be JPA. JPA to make the decision to how to spend their money, and then you guys giving them a $500,000 mega park we didn't collect it yet. And why we don't spend money for the public benefit with the kids playing the games, and unfortunately we don't have much enough a park.
There's no games being played, Mr. Kim. We operate under the Health and Safety Code, and the Health and Safety Code does not permit us to build bathrooms for city parks.
So this is as council to make the decision. But I just only want to have one vote. That I have an idea to, if they can spend the money, then why cannot spend money for our kid?
Well, it's a good
That's our-
idea. It's a good idea, except it can't be done. You know what?
Well, you cannot make the final decision. I know that.
Yeah, you can't do it. You can do it with your own funds. You can do it with Measure H money. You can do it with impact fees. You can do it with those funds. And if you wish, you can put it on the next agenda for the 15th and take action and spend your money to build the bathrooms. But Heffernan Memorial cannot, under Health and Safety Code, spend money on those items. So that's the only thing I'm trying to explain to you, so that if the community comes to you, you can give them the correct information. You can tell the community members that want bathrooms at the parks, sure, we'll build you bathrooms or we'll buy bathrooms and we're going to pay for them from Measure H monies or from the impact fees that we collect. But don't tell them, Mr. Kim, that the JPA is going to fund them because they have money, because it's not the JPA's money. The JPA is a trustee for the funds for the exclusive use of Heffernan Memorial. And we're friends. We don't want to get into a disagreement about something like this. This has been an agreement we've had with you since 1996.
So this item was we council make the decision to send to the JPA to consider to build. So I know that we're not making decisions.
Yeah, you can't make the decision.
We can,
It's a
we can make the
wonderful
final
idea.
decision. We just make our decision. Do we gonna send or not?
It's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want, obviously, but I'm telling you that the money that's in the JPA right now, and it's being held for the exclusive use of Heffernan, is not going to be used for bathrooms. It's just not.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the opinions. And then,
Are you
that is
sure?
just-
I beg your pardon?
Are you sure?
Sort of.
Okay.
Well, if the Heffernan board or JPA doesn't want to spend money for the restroom, that's the JPA's decision, not the council. But
No,
as
you're
a
wrong.
council right now.
What about
the-
porta potties? Can we get porta potties?
You're wrong, Mr. Kim. And what we're trying to tell you is, don't give out wrong information to the public. I know you don't have a lot of public here today, but you told me specifically that people came up to you and you told them that the JPA was going to buy those bathrooms. Don't be saying that, Mr. Kim, because that's incorrect.
No, I'm not saying the JPA gonna buy the bathroom. No, I said the JPA has money from there, so we can build, have the.
It's the
bathroom.
same difference. But your comments
we're gonna
don't change
requesting.
anything, Mr. Kim.
Well, that's the JPA's decision, is not mine. So even I only have one vote. I don't know how our fellow council members voting for that.
Well, I'm here
So
to-
even we made the decision, that's not fine. That's final. They're supposed to go to the JPA if we three
So
said yes.
we can't vote on this item, right?
We can vote. We can vote.
Yeah, you can vote on
We
it.
can vote it, and then the
But I
the
mean,
JPA, it's up to the JPA
It's a
come down or
futile,
not,
it's a
that's
futile
them.
vote.
Because it's illegal.
It's not illegal.
It's an
It's an illegal.
improper request
The-
for the use of those funds.
But Heffernan has to approve it.
Yeah, they have to
Yeah,
approve it.
that's-
So we
we're
sending.
not.
Well, we were at the meeting today, and I think I think we know where they want
Okay,
to
city
go
attorney,
with that,
what,
so.
have some say so about this?
The city could make the request, if that's what the council decides to do. Based on the testimony today, it's a futile request, but, I mean, you're free to go ahead and do it.
Okay, thank you. So we're not making final decision, we're just getting idea of the, we're gonna send to the JPA or not.
It's a great idea. It's a
thank
great
you.
idea.
Just the
Except
wrong
that,
fund.
the way you presented it, it can't be done. That's the only thing I'm saying.
Thank you.
Thank you. I say we table that item, I mean, that, or
Okay,
until we
so we're gonna
find
table
out.
that and find out more details?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes, yeah,
so
this
we
has-
continue the items
continue with
to find out more details and the legalities.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
we got to go back to what, 21? Is that correct?
21?
Okay.
21, I have Mr. Holton,
Should get paid overtime now.
almost done. Mr. Holton?
Do you have to?
City Council, on 21, you're looking to evaluate the commissions. And my feeling is that maybe you should have a little, you appoint people to these commissions, and that's all you do. That's it. You appoint people with no training, no understanding what their responsibility are, but yet you expect them to fulfill a certain duty. Now, there's exceptions, and I think maybe the Planning Commission is one, the Economic Commission is another, and maybe there's some others that can do their jobs. And in fact, I have came up here to give reports from the EDC, but I think that the council, and sometimes people get these idea that these commissions are more patrons, or I forgot, there's a word that you just give it to a person so they can walk around. I got a business card, I can pass it out, but yet do them a favor and train them. Now, you're looking to evaluate the commissions and say that this commission isn't doing their job, but were they informed, were they trained, were they giving the foundations in order to move forward? There's something called, you train them, give them the foundation, then from there they can do their job properly. And to me, that's one of the things. I think this body here is a distinguished body. I think you go to a training to be a city councilman. You go to certain training to get that knowledge. What are we doing for our commissions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to make a comment. You know, the commissions are only as good as the people that are on it, but the staff. You know, I just got a letter of resignation from one of my appointees, and I mean, I gotta say this is from the Financial Advisory Board. You know, you put these people in the commissions, and I believe she's been there for a year or more than that, because when I was elected, I just kept her on. But you know, these boards, you know, they don't meet. I mean, this board, come to know, we're $6 million overspent, and this board, I used to go to the meeting, Mr. Ben Horn, you were there, and they lie to us. They just say everything's fine. Hey, financially, we're doing great, and I mean, the transparency just wasn't there, you know, and that's one thing that, you know, it's frustrating. The people that are appointed sometimes, you know, like you said, they're just there to have the card and to say I'm a commissioner, but they don't meet. There's no quorum, and it's frustrating because it puts a lot more pressure on us council members. You know, we should have our finance. For example, my finance commissioner should be giving me updates every month. Hey, listen, this is where we're at. You know, and they're not, because that's they don't have that information. But I think we definitely need to look at this. And we have street naming, which, I mean, it's kind of, yeah, street naming commission. We have a historical commission. Maybe what we should do is not necessarily get rid of them, but, you know, maybe once a month that they meet is just too much. Maybe we should do.
Motion to support that. In reference to the street naming, that's the commission.
We'll put a street under your name. Don't worry about it. Yeah, sure. Mayor? Why not? It's almost 11. I mean.
Before the
novela ya
pumpkin,
pasó.
Council Mayor, as a commissioner and a former committee member, there's a big difference between a commission and a committee. As a commissioner, we have more responsibility, and you can say we're the right hand to you, the council. So we deserve more respect. And we are your eyes, ears, and your voice. In the past, staff tried to work with the past Planning Commission, and apparently there was some misconception as to what were their duties. And the present Planning Commission is trying to work with the engineering staff, planning staff, Public Works, to make sure that we do follow the law according to. But we've had some road obstacles. We don't have communication with staff, and when we request information, most of the time we don't get feedback, or we get brushed off from past administration or in bypass for a lot of this environmental, CEQA, NEPA, whatever you want to call it, variances decisions. And most of those projects are fast track, violating several laws.
Well,
So I caution in the past, personally, to certain council members, that administration was not following the laws, zoning laws, which are very delicate, those of you who know or are familiar with housing or engineering or planning, that we could be liable to plenty of lawsuits. We caution staff, but those were brushed away. Now, there's a lot of committees and commissioners and committee members. They want to help, but the council does not help at all. And administration did not support us. So if anything, I say you should meet with every single committee member and try to make amends, or at least try to do another ethics workshop where they can understand their rules and regulations and their protocols, because a lot of them don't even know what their functions are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's that we talking Mr. Finley today, and I think we give it up a final shot to all the commissioners to obligate once a month regular meeting. If they don't have agenda, they have a training or whatever they can training to position. They have to feel like they're alive. They just don't call to 2, 3, 4 months. Then suddenly they call the meeting. Very hard for them to function in that way.
yeah, it's I had that, the first commission I was ever on, which was beautification, and, it was, well, nobody's put anything on the agenda, so we're not going to meet. It'd be 6 months before,
But the staff has to develop some kind of material
I think somebody
train them.
somebody on the staff needs to, take care of all the commissions, and make sure that person deals with all the commissions and makes a monthly, a monthly schedule for all the commissions, Gabby, Gabby, and put that on the minutes, and so that they meet, and let's give it one last shot. If not, then maybe the reduction it will be, or maybe we can merge street naming and beautification, and then we can, because it's almost, we can merge a few and give them that kind of the title, but they also, do the street naming or something like that, I don't know, we got to do something, because
why don't we call all the commission meeting in the regular meeting? We'll put us on schedule in case if they don't have bylaw by the administration need to set the regular meeting, whatever, to call them, to make sure to call them personally, phone call, whatever, to call them, at least sitting down with them together to make the regular meeting. In case of street naming committee, maybe we can talk about the street naming, how things like that. So we can do that. And also lots of issues we need to do that. So why don't we give the direction to the city manager to put someone in that way?
What you said.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So city manager will
So
take the initiative, put someone in charge to taking care of this. Every commissioners have
Gabby.
a regular meeting once, and then we evaluating later on. Okay, this commission not function, then we bring back to us.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but the thing is that we have different staff members that do. I think it should just be one. That way, because if not, what happens is this: they start. Well, no, the planning meets that day, so we can't meet that day, and it becomes a mess. It's got to be one person that does, Gabby, one person that does the scheduling for all of them. Well, no, I'm talking about the scheduling. Yeah, obviously, you're not gonna have,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, please, yes, I think
Okay,
we
so
already have.
we don't have to vote on this.
Yeah,
Direction's been given.
direction given to
We're
the
on
city manager.
24?
Number 20,
Jesus.
okay, 22, considers Mayor Kim to remove his appointee under.
I make a motion to
Business
approve.
What? Improvement District. Number 22. Any persons who wish to talk?
This is removing
We have number 23.
Armando.
Okay. Reason I'm putting this on the agenda, and the last meeting we was talking, and actually our bid commissions to send the wrong information to hurting the city, to saying city wants to hire the business license fees.
Okay,
So that was the wrong information to scare the people, scare tactic to people to bring into the city council meeting. And then after we clarifying that it's not true, we city never intend to hire increase the sales taxes and business taxes. And we clearly, and then also the non-itemized merchant item, we cannot approve it. And after clearing, and the next day, I had a meeting with my commissioner and say, well, there's a lying to the community. I cannot accept my commissioner lying to the community to conducting city business. And agreed to me, said, okay, what it's been done, what you want me to do it? Then I said, well, you don't have to apologize with them, but at least send whoever you sent to the email flyer to clarifying, to say it's misunderstanding or misleading it, to just clarifying the issues. And the person agreed to do it and haven't done anything.
so you're removing him.
So I cannot appoint any commissioner to be a city business doing lying things like that. So I want to remove him.
Good job.
Beg your pardon? Well, okay, I removed what's called the.
Thank you, Ben.
Armando Martinez, I'm removed from the big commissions.
Okay.
Okay, number
24.
23rd.
No, we already did 23.
Huh?
Yeah.
23.
No, we
23.
already did it.
23.
No, 22.
Okay.
Next item is 23.
Okay.
We're gonna postpone it to next meeting?
No.
Okay, we have somebody there? Oh, number 23, I think Mr. Ben Holton was to talk.
Se va a acabar el happy hour.
I'll make it really simple. It seems like every 2 weeks, we come up with this, and there's no action. The city council, with all due respect to the council persons, they can appoint a person to, if the council person can't appoint the person, they can appoint the person. It's in deal in reference to commissions. So the council as a whole can appoint. And we're getting to this point every 2 weeks. No, I don't have nobody. Come on now, how much? And I have heard from other people, they have applied to be put on a commission. Nobody ever calls them. Nobody ever talks to them. And they put their application in. That's what I hear. But like everything around, you can hear a lot, but doesn't make it factual. So I'm just saying, if between yourselves, if you can't appoint somebody, in between yourselves, you can appoint somebody to these commissions to get it done.
Thank you.
I have a question. Do you have a quorum on that commission? If there is a quorum on that commission?
Mine?
You are in economic development,
Yes,
right?
we have a quorum.
You
Yeah.
have it?
Yes.
And that's mean you can move forward, right?
We move forward,
Okay.
we move and adjust, but I'm
Okay,
not.
that's good, that's great.
Well, we move forward, and I gotta say, I think we're one of the very few commissions that's acted, that does something. You don't have to ask me to come up here and give reports. I give reports.
Good.
Good or bad, I give a report.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Holton. Okay, so we have the Mayor Pro Tem, the Castro, the economic. You're gonna put next meeting?
Yes, I would like to appoint for Economic Development Commissioner, I would like to appoint Jesse Gallardo. Is that your last name, Gallardo? Okay, yes, Gabi, will you please get the information from him, and can you guide him in order to be
Mr. Gallardo,
commissioner for the next?
you
public
should
council
come up
meeting?
here and say your business and,
Yeah,
what,
please.
name, place of residence.
Okay, I'll be brief because we all want to go. Jesus Gallardo, I have a business on 2nd Street in front of 99 Cent Store. I own a cell phone store and a call center, and I live here in Calexico, Bulldogs 06. Thank you, Castro, for appointing me.
Okay,
Randy, thank you.
also, the reason that I appoint you, Gerardo, is because here in the city of Calexico, I believe we need more people who think as a business person. Why? Because in order to move forward, we need someone to take care,
That understands business.
understand business. That's the main point. That's the reason I appoint you.
Well, look at it this way. I'm 27, and there's a lot of people, young people, my generation, that owns businesses, and that doesn't have any kind of backing from the city, any kind of backing from the city council, with all due respect. And if you have a fresh perspective on what we do on business, what we actually need, not what the outlets need, what Walmart needs, what small businesses, the backbone of America needs, we could do so much better in the city that, you know what I'm saying? Like other businesses, other people, a younger generation.
Well, the city council definitely helped business today by approving
Definitely, I'm
the
supporting
lowering
that.
of fees.
That's one of
why
the
I'm
reasons.
here. Thank you very much.
Your accent, are you French or no?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Castro.
24.
And the other one is Business Improvement District. Hurtado, Mr. Moreno is not here today. They left already.
Mayor Kim?
Recreation Commission appointment with Mayor Kim, I think I have to next meeting. And Finance Advisory Board, Council Member Hurtado, she's not here.
Okay.
And the other one, Senior Citizens Commission, approved by the City Council Member Moreno, is not here. Okay, now we go for the informational item number 24. I have a
We're at the last
person.
item?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Now we have a person, the Jason Chung.
Wow, the room's empty now. Oh, man. All right, you know what? I heard through the grapevine, or reliable sources, that Mr. Horton was at an economic development meeting influencing the commission there. You know what? He should either step down or stop saying things to influence other members of that commission, because I know Julia and Mr. Romero walked out of the meeting citing Brown Act violations. If you're going to be doing business with contractors, hold on, with developers, let me speak.
Please don't interrupt the person's talk.
You know, and you're going to be doing things with Mandy, and you guys are going to be doing this AMC developing thing. You know what? Make sure you guys recuse yourselves from taking action and trying to benefit and get something out of the city.
Please.
Oh, I am? Really?
Please.
Where's Julia at? Okay. see
Mr.
ya.
Holton, please. Okay, thank you. The number 24, the Mr.
Yeah, basically, it's the information item that you guys requested that be brought to you for this agenda. The follow-up on that will be that for some reason isn't in part of the backup, was the number of jobs that need to be created.
I think that Will Marshall said it was 800, I believe.
We need to do the research to
So
make sure.
it's real simple.
Please let the finish the
Well,
explaining.
Okay.
Okay, so just real quick, that we need to research it, so I can bring you back the exact numbers that need to be created, because we are on a time limit, as you well
But
aware.
let me just step in.
Please,
real quick.
okay.
It's really, in other words,
Okay,
if we don't.
Mr. Real, so you have a chance, so why don't you let him to finish?
And then, so that's going to be brought back before you, and then I will be working with the IID and and whatever contract was out there to try and get this resolution to the issue with the transformer pads not being at the right elevation.
Okay, Mr.
I wanna.
Okay, Mr. Real, you wanna report us to what's going on, inform us?
I mean, I don't know too much about what happened in the past because I wasn't here, and all I know is that I think it's real clean cut. If we don't create jobs in town center, we owe $3 million that we don't have. It's that simple. We have till April of next year.
But who's responsible? Who has
It
the $3
doesn't
million?
matter who's responsible. If we don't create the jobs, we pay $3 million. It's that simple.
Does Mr.
Mr.
Smith's
Jason
gonna-
Jung
Town center
and
gonna
Mr.
pay
Kim
money?
feel that we should just pay the $3 million. And so we don't have them. We have to figure out a way to get town center going.
But the
and
$3
that's all I'm
million
saying.
come from where? The
General
$30 million that Mr. Smith, town center received the money?
No,
No,
that
they
money
built the
came to the city
infrastructure.
as a grant for the improvements to the project. So that money came to the city, it was put into the infrastructure, improvements that were out there on streets, roads, water lines, and everything else. So those improvements, that money went to those improvements that already been done and paid for.
Okay, so in case of, if we, the town center plaza cannot prove what's called the job creations, so what happens?
We're responsible for those $3
We are
million.
responsible. The money will come from where?
General fund.
From, we have to do it, not
That's
the
correct.
Mr. Town Center Plaza.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Future agenda item, before we leave, I think it's imperative that we do something about town center. And I know we did a lot today with the fees and everything, and I hope that stimulates someone to come in there. But we really need to get economic development to bring somebody that will create the jobs there. Because we gotta do whatever we can to create those jobs. We had a conference call with Mr. Will Marshall. I think he knows that it's almost impossible for us to create the 800 jobs that we're supposed to create in such a short period of time. But Mr. Renison was in the conference call, Ms. Esperanza Warren from the Imperial County, from the county, Mr. Finley and myself, and who else was there?
There was a dark guy there.
Yeah, I forget his name. And he was, I mean, he was very receptive. He didn't tell us straight out, but he almost told us, like, create something. I mean, give me 200, 300 jobs, and we'll go ahead and take away that debt. But we need to do something. I mean, it's been 7 years and a half, and we got a 9-year limit on it. If we don't do something within the next year and a half, I mean, we're in deep trouble.
So our council member made the wrong decision then. They couldn't create a job. They just refunding, we done. we
No,
just
well,
done-
if,
do
let
nothing.
me, I mean, the history is that when it was built, it was back in '07, everything was booming, everything seemed good. All of a sudden, 2008 came, the recession came, and that's it. Now that it looks like people are starting to kind of come back, it behooves us to help them in any way, especially town center, because, we need those jobs. That way EDA in the future can loan us more money again. I mean, it's a bad debt. That's all I'm saying. So.
But the city the one who owns
Yes,
the
there
$3 million.
there was city council members that met.
Almost $4 million the deficit. We're gonna have another $6-7 million deficit with the lawsuit. So we're gonna have over $10 million. We're gonna be messed up.
Let's hope you're wrong, but could be. Yeah. But we don't need this extra $3 million. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, if we can get some jobs there, we gotta move on them, and we gotta streamline whoever comes.
Well,
in.
actually, the person who's in charge of the town center plaza, do we have
Yeah,
a
his
way
name's-
to make them to pay for that in case they
No.
don't fail?
No way.
They have no responsibility to pay
responsibility
any of the
whatsoever.
money
Actually-
back.
Nothing binding Nothing binding.
Actually, the
binding
guy's
contract,
name is Kevin Smith, and actually, we went over there to see the place and said, you know what, if you guys don't want to do it, it don't bother me. He gets to keep the place with all the anemones. So he says, if you guys want to help us, fine. If not, guess what? You paid $3 billion.
Okay.
So that's that simple. Motion to adjourn.
Motion, okay?
Second.
Yes, yes. The 10, you have a 10. No, I don't. 39. We adjourn the meeting.
Ahí la